Warrior Lore. Chapter 48:18. Ripples appeared in the void as more people descended from the sky. Those who broke through the void and entered the Saint Spirit world were all from the demon clan. They were all sacred venerables and were very young. Lang Feng has arrived earlier. I wonder if he has found anything. One of the men in a blue robe looked at the others and said, "Let's spread out and familiarize ourselves with this place. Let's see what's going on." One of the muscular young men patted his stomach and said, "Before that, I have to eat my fill." Zichun received the crystal ball that Wang Xian asked the sacred venerables to bring back. He first saw the details of the battle, including the way the demon clan fled. His eyes were filled with shock. The demon clan's brain was pierced through, but he did not die. If it were him, he might not be able to survive such an injury. The life force of the demon clan was indeed very strong. Then, Zichun looked at the demon clan's blood and the wolf's claw. He carefully sensed the composition of the demon clan's power. The power of the demon clan was very clear and very obvious. It was very different from that of the gods, demons, and spirits. After keeping these things, Zichun went to look for the two old men for the third time. They were still in the tavern and seemed to have become regulars there. "Want a drink?" Before Zichun could ask anything, the old man in the white robe took the initiative to invite him. Zichun nodded and sat next to him. After all, he had something to ask him. Looking at the scattered dishes and cheap drinks on the table, Zichun was slightly stunned. He was secretly impressed by the two old men's frugality. They were indeed noble. However, since he was here, he had to express his gratitude. He turned around and said, "Waiter, give me a few jars of wine and a few dishes." As many people had left the Tianwu world to look for opportunities outside, the business of the tavern was not very good. When the waiter saw Zichun, he was first stunned and felt that it was unbelievable. Looking at Zichun and the two old men, the waiter was completely stunned. The two poor old men who owed him money for a few days were actually Master Zichun's friends? Zichun nodded and smiled at the waiter. The waiter recovered from his shock and hurried to the back. Soon, the best wine in the store was served. Smelling the fragrance of the wine, a smile appeared on the faces of the two old men. The white-robed old man waved his hand and put away the cheap wine. He could still drink it in the future. Zichun personally filled their glasses. The aroma of the wine lifted their spirits. After a few rounds of wine, Zichun explained the purpose of his visit. The Yao clan has already appeared, so there's nothing that can't be said. The black-robed old man took the initiative and said, "The war back then was too tragic. The celestial, devil, spirit, and Yao clans were all in a chaotic battle. Goshan had to personally take action and forcefully seal the Yao clans, thus ending the war. However, the three clans also suffered great losses because of it." Zichun asked, "It's because of that seal that the Saint Spirit world can't produce demons, right?" The black-robed old man nodded. "That's right. The world was originally one, and so were the four clans. Now that there are three clans, the rules are flawed." Zichun took the opportunity to ask, "So, the immortal spell's realm can't be opened, right?" The two old men glanced at Zichun. Clearly, they did not expect him to know about the immortal spell's realm. This time, it was the white-robed old man who spoke. "Yes, the rules are incomplete, and the immortal spell's realm is closed. So, after Goshan, no one else has the right to enter the immortal spell's realm." This time, without waiting for Zichun to ask, the white-robed old man said, "Because, in this world, there is no one else. Only the first person has the right to enter the immortal spell's realm." Perhaps it was because of the wine, or some other reason, but this time, the two old men told him everything they knew. Zichun finally stood up to pay the bill. Of course, the boss was unwilling to accept it. Just as the two sides were arguing, the white-robed old man said, "Why don't we keep it first? We'll settle it next time." Both sides agreed, and the three clans were happy. Zichun had given enough money. After the bill was settled, there would be a lot more. It would be enough for the two old men to drink for a long time. After returning, the Demon King muttered, "Where did those two old men come from? How do they know so much?" "If you want to know, ask them yourself." Actually, Zichun was also very curious. Of course, the Demon King did not dare to ask. After chatting a few times, Zichen already knew of his cautious personality. Otherwise, why did he have to find Lei Jinka out of so many strong people back then? At that time, Lei Jinka did not even have the right to stand behind the sage. Naturally, it was because he was weak and easy to control. And this time, the Demon King directly launched a soul attack on Zichen. He had no choice. Lang Qing flew in the direction of the 8 immortals. When he arrived, he first ate his fill, then began to ask for information. As expected, it was as the elders had guessed. The 5 spirits that were sealed back then had already appeared in the world. Based on their current numbers, it was obviously impossible to control those large factions, but it should not be difficult to control the 5 spirits. Therefore, he chose the 8 immortals. In another direction, the monk was also anxiously heading towards the 8 immortals. It was said that there were many gourds hanging on the vine. For a monk who often traveled far, holding a gourd or many gourds by his side, he could also store wine. Wouldn't that be great? There were many gourds hanging on the gourd vine, making people envious. The eyes of the monk who came here lit up, but he did not rush forward rashly. Instead, he watched silently and listened to the discussions around him. After learning that each person could only get 1 gourd, the monk's expression changed. This was not what he expected, so he could not act rashly. Or rather, he should see what the test was first. When he accepted the test, he would first pretend to be a pig to eat the tiger and barely pass the test. Then, he would appear in front of the 8 immortals and use his full strength to take away 8 or 10 or 20 gourds. Wouldn't that be better? Thinking of how he would look when he succeeded, the monk could not help but smile proudly. Looking over now, there were more than 10,000 gourds. The other party would definitely not care about such a small loss. After making up his mind, the monk chose to wait and watch carefully. At this moment, an inconspicuous guy walked to the side of the 8 immortals. Facing the gourds in his field of vision, he did not participate in the test. Instead, he said directly, 8 immortals, right? I represent the demon race to ask for a demon refining gourd. The monk was confused. What the hell? There were so many gourds, but he did not snatch one. Why did he ask for one? Moreover, this guy knew that they were called the 8 immortals. Suddenly, the monk's expression changed. Wait, he said he's a demon? The demon race has already descended? Lang Qing looked at the indifferent 8 immortals and continued, Don't try to fool me with an ordinary spirit refining gourd. I only want the demon refining gourd. If you don't want us to uproot you after we invade, hand it over obediently. Who are you? How dare you be so arrogant? People came forward, wanting to argue with Lang Qing. At this moment, several wolf shadows appeared behind Lang Qing and swallowed all the spirit race people nearby. During this time, Lang Qing did not turn around. Such a scene caused the expressions of the others to change greatly, and they were extremely shocked. Ignoring the other spirit race people behind him, Lang Qing continued, Don't be fooled by your appearance now. In the eyes of the demon race, you're nothing. I'll give you 3 breaths of time to consider carefully. If you don't agree, you... A huge force suddenly attacked from behind and Lang Qing's body was sent flying. Damn it, who are you to be so arrogant here? Chapter 48:19. Lang Qing's body flew out diagonally. His mind was in a mess, and he didn't realize that someone had appeared behind him. What would have happened if the other party had killed him with this move? Cold sweat appeared on Lang Qing's forehead. At this moment, Lang Qing suddenly felt a chill around him. It was as if he was being targeted by an enemy. It made his hair stand on end. His body immediately tensed up. Demonic energy circled around him, and he turned into a huge green wolf. The others were also shocked that the monk had such means to send the arrogant Lang Qing flying so easily. But soon, they were attracted by the green wolf's huge body. So it's a beast. No wonder you're so rude. The monk looked at Lang Qing, who had revealed his true form, and mocked him. Spirit race, you're courting death. Looking at the tiny spirit race in front of him, Lang Qing pounced forward. This time, he used his true form and his aura was strong. When he got close, he opened his mouth and tried to swallow the monk. You want to eat your Lord Buddha? Let's see if your teeth are tough. Immediately, 2 tall Buddha shadows appeared behind the monk. One of them shone with a golden light, and the Buddha's aura illuminated everything. The other one was surrounded by black smoke and evil energy. The two Buddha shadows took a step forward at the same time and blocked Lang Qing's mouth. The monk's body was less than 1/10 the size of Lang Qing's head. He looked up at Lang Qing and said disdainfully, "Is this all you've got? You're just us." Boom. Lang Qing's eyes flashed and his aura became more violent. Boundless demonic energy exploded from his body. The two Buddha shadows collapsed instantly, and a strong airflow swept the monk away. An even stronger demonic energy surged. The violent feeling caused the surrounding people to retreat immediately. Their eyes were filled with fear. That demon was very strong. But this monk, who should be from the Buddhist domain, also had extraordinary strength. Roar! Lang Qing let out a furious roar. Countless green lights flew out from his body and rushed toward the monk. The monk stood where he was. Golden light shone around his body. The incoming green light was completely blocked out. This was a spiritual attack, but it couldn't get close to the monk. It was blocked by the Buddhist light. Die! Lang Qing pounced forward again, but at this moment, it saw a light shadow approaching it. It was a glowing golden fist that landed heavily on Lang Qing's head. With a loud bang, Lang Qing's huge body was sent flying. The monk retracted his hand and shook his wrist, feeling waves of pain. "You bastard! Your skin is really thick." The monk was surprised that his punch didn't crack the other party's skull. Unbeknownst to him, Lang Qing was even more surprised. He, a dignified demon, was actually suppressed by a baldy? It rushed forward again, roaring angrily again and again. Boundless demonic energy shook and surged. Just like that, a monk and a giant wolf fought each other, creating a huge commotion. The space within a radius of several thousand zhang was distorted. Everywhere it passed, everyone frantically retreated, worried that they would be affected. There were many holy venerates present. However, very few of them possessed the same level of combat prowess as these two. At that moment, their faces were filled with astonishment. Both sides were equally matched. However, after the monk used his spider scythe, Lang Qing retreated, leaving behind one of its hind legs. Demonic blood splattered everywhere. The monk went forward and carried the wolf's huge leg, laughing loudly. He walked to the 8 immortal vine and just chuckled without saying a word. The 8 immortal vine had probably never seen such a shameless guy. Its body swayed slightly, and a bright light appeared in the middle. The light gradually enlarged and turned into a gourd. This gourd was obviously different from the others. Its luster was changing, and the patterns on it were even clearer. This should be the demon refining gourd. The monk took the gourd and sensed it. He nodded in satisfaction. "There's something to store wine and meat. Zhang Haoyin, go and get some wine. I'll treat you to a good meal later." The monk didn't leave. Instead, he looked at the 8 immortal vine and asked, "Senior, can I still take the test now?" He stared at those ordinary gourds. He didn't mind them. The 8 immortal vine's answer was a beam of light. With a bang, the monk was sent flying thousands of miles away. Demonic power. You actually have demonic power? A demon covered in wounds stared at the demonic ape in front of him in disbelief. The demonic ape had more than a dozen wounds on its body. It hadn't used a weapon since the start of the battle. The others all scattered far away, not daring to confront it. There are no more demons in this world. Why do you have such pure demonic power? Lang Tu's eyes grew colder. Could it be that there are other demons still alive? The demonic ape didn't know what Lang Tu meant, but its power had been increasing ever since it became a saint venerable. Its former demonic power was also changing. The demonic ape didn't know what it was before, but now it knew that it was demonic power. It was all because of the drop of blood that Senior Qi Yin gave it in the pagoda of confinement. No matter how you survived, you're going to die today. Lang Tu flew up and revealed his huge true body, pouncing toward the demonic ape. The demonic ape's eyes were cold. Its body also enlarged immediately, fighting Lang Tu with all its might. Blood splattered in the air. The two's collision created an earth-shattering sound. In the end, the demonic ape seriously injured Lang Tu without using a weapon, and Lang Tu fled. The demons came to this world for two reasons. One was to get the good stuff to condense the 5 spirits, and the other was to show off their might. However, they didn't win a single battle. Although many people were still shocked by the demons' powerful combat power, it was a bad start for the demons. They didn't see the situation they wanted. While the others were refining the fruit they got last time, Su Mingyao came to where Sky Snake was. As luck would have it, they encountered the demon clan here. This time, there were 2 demons here to ask for the real heavenly vine. Clearly, the demons were more familiar with the 5 spirits trump card. Su Mingyao's unique temperament immediately attracted the 2's attention. Hence, they gave up on asking for the heavenly vine and came to Su Mingyao. The 2 looked at Su Mingyao with eyes full of greed. Su Mingyao hugged a small beast and looked at the 2 quietly. "Beauty, come with us." The 2 came forward with a sinister smile. Su Mingyao stood there without any other movement, but the small beast in her arms waved its claws. It was equivalent to 2 slaps, and the 2 demons were sent flying. Su Mingyao carried Shui Wu and walked forward. When she got close to Sky Snake, it moved and gave her a heavenly vine. Su Mingyao thanked it and left with the heavenly vine. As for the 2 demons, they were long gone. Chapter 48:20. To the people of this world, the demon race was no longer a secret. Previously, when the gods and demons were defeated, the demon race came in. Some people were worried, but more people were indifferent. They had survived the gods and demons' disaster. What was there to be afraid of? And from the looks of it, the demon race that appeared seemed powerful, but they had not gained any advantage. Actually, this was the reason why the demon race was depressed. They had powerful and terrifying combat power, but they had not gained any advantage when fighting against the spirit race. Other than a monkey with demon race bloodline, who won with his own strength, the others all relied on external objects. It was fine if they did not ask, but when they did, the demon race was shocked. Those people came from a place called the Tianwu world. The owner of that world, a guy called Zichen, was recognized as the strongest person there. Of course, this was nothing. The demon race had nothing but powerful combat power. The main reason they lost this time was because those people had weapons in their hands. The materials of their weapons were demon grade, which was something that did not exist in this world. They lost consecutively, but relatively speaking, their losses were not unjustified. The 5 spirits demon sealing seal had not been fully activated and needed their help. This was also the main reason why they came to this world in advance. But they did not have a good start. Think of a way to communicate. We need more people. No matter what, we have to achieve an overwhelming victory. Lang Feng, who was the first to come to this world, said coldly, "We must not lose again. Don't forget what our real advantage is." Besides the advantages that the demon race had, they had an even bigger advantage, which was their numbers. "Don't you have powerful weapons? Then we will use our absolute numbers to suppress you." Previously, when he fought with Wang Xian'er, Lang Feng lost a claw and had been in a bad mood. His injury had just recovered. A demon race thought of a way to communicate between the 2 worlds. The situation here was already beyond expectations. Not long after, the demon returned with a look of joy on his face. How was it? Everyone looked at the demon race. The demon race smiled and said, "The higher-ups were a little surprised, but they were not angry about our failure. They even said that it was a good thing." Good thing? The demon race did not understand. They had lost so badly. How could it be a good thing? The other party explained, "The seal hasn't completely disappeared yet, so demon-grade weapons shouldn't have appeared. Now, every time they use it, it is equivalent to challenging the rules of this world. If they use it again and again, the already fragile seal will open faster. At that time, the experts of our race will be able to truly descend." There are also the various items produced by the 5 spirits. It would be best if they could be consumed faster. That way, their effect on the seal would also be reduced. When it reaches a certain limit, the seal will naturally disappear. The void distorted as one figure after another descended from the sky. After landing, he turned into a human. They were, in fact, demons. Holy venerates started to come in large numbers. Naturally, those who could reach this place in the early stages were all experts. Tyrant arrived at Sky Snake's location. With a gourd hanging on his waist, he was very proud. This time, Zhang Haoyan had followed the monk all the way. Previously, when he fought with Lang Qing of the demon race, he had been watching from the side. When they were about to reach their destination, the monk immediately said, "Same old rules. Quickly hide. Otherwise, you will scare the demons away." Zhang Haoyan glanced at the monk and his figure disappeared. The monk continued to move forward, his eyes sweeping the surroundings. At the same time, he muttered, "I'm still too late. I heard that little girl Su Mingyao already had a special harvest here. Unfortunately, I really can't split myself. Otherwise, I can split into 5 and guard the 5 spirits. This way, I can beat the 5 demons away. Wouldn't I be able to obtain 5 supreme treasures?" The monk's soul consciousness swept the surroundings but did not find anything. He was even more disappointed. He waited for a while like this, but there was still no movement. The impatient monk changed from passive to active. "Demon race? Where are you? Quickly come out and save me." The monk's shout did not call the demons over. Instead, it gave the others a big fright. Everyone turned around and looked at the monk who called for help. "Are you demons? If you are, then come and save me. If you aren't, then go back to what you were supposed to do." Being stared at strangely by everyone, the monk said in dissatisfaction, "Are you looking for us?" A cold voice suddenly sounded from the back of the group. When the monk heard this voice, his eyes lit up. "It's you? The one who broke his leg last time?" When Lang Qing heard that, his expression turned cold immediately. The monk did not seem to have noticed Lang Qing's anger and immediately shouted enthusiastically, "Come quickly, come quickly. I need your help." Lang Qing naturally knew what the other party was up to and said with a faint smile, "Are you sure you need my help?" Of course, before he could finish, the smile on the monk's face froze. 3 more demons appeared behind Lang Qing. There were a total of 4 of them. The monk was stunned. Lang Qing mocked, "Why? Are you afraid? We've struck it big this time. The 2 of us should be able to get a heavenly vine each." The monk became excited. Of course, he knew that the other party might give more rewards if the difficulty of the battle increased. However, 3 more appeared after 3. When a group of 7 demons appeared, the monk was completely dumbfounded. He glared at Lang Qing and hollered, "You cheated!" The monk turned and ran. He was a little greedy when it came to humans, but he also knew that life was more precious. There were 7 Saint Venerables. Even he and Zhang Haoyan might not be able to deal with them. The others stared blankly at the monk who was running away, not knowing what to say. "You think you can run?" Lang Qing sneered and chased after him with his men. This annoying baldy was his target to kill. Not only did this guy roast his hind leg and eat it, but he also told everyone that it tasted good. The spirit race was clearly the food of the demons. The 7 demons chased after him. After they were far away, Zhang Haoyan appeared. He did not follow them but left in the opposite direction. At the same time, a large number of demons appeared in other places. They were no longer looking for supreme treasures. Instead, they looked for Wang Xian, and the others for revenge. In the face of an absolute advantage in numbers, Wang Xian, could only choose to run. Everyone could be seen fleeing wherever the 5 spirits were. The monk was unwilling to give up and ran around Sky Snake. When he realized that the demons were chasing after him, he could only lead them to another place. Su Mingyao, Devil Ape, and the others had already come out. They were all heading in the direction of the 5 spirits. He wanted to gather everyone together and launch a great counterattack. Chapter 48:21. "You wolf cubs behind me, it's not very nice of you to chase after me like this, right?" The vague aura of the 8 immortals had already appeared in the range of Tyrant's soul perception. He estimated that they had arrived and did not forget to provoke them. "Didn't you just eat a piece of wolf meat? It's already digested. Why do you care? Die." The void distorted and a strong storm began to brew. A giant wolf the size of a mountain appeared behind Tyrant. The giant wolf moved forward with the storm. However, it was very far away from Tyrant, so it was not dangerous. Tyrant hooked his finger behind him and sped up when the storm approached. Lang Qing was so angry that he roared. Tyrant was very satisfied with this effect and looked forward to meeting up with his companions. Then, he could kill these arrogant demons and perhaps become famous. Of course, he didn't want the battlefield to be here, because he already had the demon refining gourd. His ideal battlefield was where the heavenly sun was, or where the thunder tree spirit was. It was said that the other party had a sword, an extraordinary thunder sword. Tyrant, who was approaching, sensed the aura of his companions. It was the demon ape. He was fighting with 3 demons and had used a demonic weapon, but he still could not gain the upper hand. This guy is too blind. Tyrant immediately used his soul power and transmitted his voice. Demon ape, leave quickly. The demon ape heard Tyrant's voice and sensed the situation behind him. After a slight hesitation, he retreated. You are willing to give up your life for the demon refining gourd? Tyrant stared at the demon ape who was following him. It has nothing to do with the demon refining gourd. I just want to kill them. The demon ape said. His murderous aura did not diminish. Looking at the shocking wounds on the demon ape, Tyrant asked in confusion, why? If you can't win, just run. Is there a need to risk your life? The demon ape shook his head and did not explain. Let's go to Heavenly Sun and see who is there. How dare they? They are just a few small demons. Do they really think that there is no one left in our spirit race? When we meet up with everyone, we will not let any of them go. They went to Heavenly Sun and saw Xing and the others. These people were also running, and there were more than 10 demons following behind them. When they saw Tyrant and the demon ape, they still ran after they met up. Seeing that they were getting further and further away from Tianyang, Tyrant was infuriated. Evidently, his plan to have a decisive battle here had gone down the drain. He could only go to the next dragon-swallowing place. Before he arrived, he saw Su Mingyao and Xuelin. Even with Xue Wu by their side, the 3 of them could not deal with more than a dozen demons. They could only escape together. In the entire Saint Spirit realm, they could be seen escaping almost every day. Among them, there were many bored fellows who took out their crystal balls and recorded everything that happened. Right now, there were even people who were betting to see how long these people could last. As for saving them, that doesn't exist. This was because the Demon Clan had only attacked the people of the Tianwu world and had never attacked anyone else. These people had obviously forgotten the reason why the Demon Clan targeted the people of the Tianwu world. As they fled, the number of the entire team began to grow. However, the number of demons was also growing, and they far exceeded the number of people in the Tianwu world. Many people were watching the show indifferently. There were even many people who were gloating. This made Tyrant grit his teeth in anger. I say, let's make a deal. From now on, we'll mind our own business. You guys can occupy this realm as you wish, and we'll go to other places to look for opportunities. What do you think? Looking at the mighty Demon Clan team behind him, Tyrant could only think of other strategies. The others in the team were not surprised. This was Tyrant, who always put benefits first. He was obviously different from Zichun. If Zichun were here, he would definitely not say such a thing. After we kill you, we will naturally unify the spirit realm, Lang Qing said indifferently, because this is our world. You're right. I agree very much. However, with us here, your plan can't be completed in a short period of time. So from now on, you guys go your own way, and we'll go back to our home. Okay? Tyrant said again. Lang Qing sneered. Don't you think it's too late to beg for mercy now? Where's your arrogance from before? You don't even know what's good for you. Are you trying to be shameless? Tyrant turned around, his eyes surging with boundless killing intent. At the same time, he held the spider-leg scythe in his hand. The demons that were chasing after them slowed down their speed. Tyrant shouted, Zhang Haoyan, stop hiding. Let's kill one of them first. Lord Zhang doesn't believe that a saint venerable like us can be intimidated by some animals. The Demon Clan members looked around vigilantly. Could there be someone hiding in the dark? Don't waste time here. Go to the Spirit Guardian. Su Mingyao transmitted her voice to everyone. Where's Zhang Haoyan? Did he really run away? Tyrant was stunned when nothing strange happened ahead. He had always thought that he had a trump card that he had never used before. No one answered Tyrant. Everyone continued to move in the direction of the Lightning Tree Spirit Guardian. The Demon Clan members were naturally in pursuit. In fact, They were happy to see this scene, because after understanding the saint's spirit realm and knowing the identity of these people who were running away were undoubtedly the strongest in this world. Once they caught all of them, it would be a magnificent feat for the demon clan. At the same time, it would be a huge blow to the spiritual realm's morale. In addition, the demon clan had not killed them yet because they needed these people to use more devil-grade weapons to speed up the demon clan's arrival. The group arrived at the Spirit Guardian. There were still many Spirit Clan members here, and there were many sacred sages among them. When they saw the chasing situation, they retreated one by one. After retreating to a safe distance, they took out their crystal balls and began to take in everything that was happening. Tyrant saw this scene and was so angry that he wanted to curse. They were all just watching the show. Little did they know that these demon clan members had evil intentions. Once they killed them, they would destroy everyone here. Why did we come here? Will the Spirit Guardian help us? Tyrant asked curiously. When they were still some distance away from the Spirit Guardian, Su Mingyao signaled everyone to stop. The demonic beasts at the back rushed forward and surrounded them. Lang Qing looked ahead and said coldly, "Run. Why aren't you running? You're already surrounded. Why should I run?" Tyrant said in annoyance. Lang Qing looked behind him and saw that the expressions of the other demon clan members had changed. Could these people be on their side? But no matter how he looked at it, it didn't seem like it. As if to verify their guess or to cause unnecessary misunderstandings, the demon clan members retreated to show their stance. At this point, you still dare to talk big. You're really a weirdo. Lang Qing, who had seen everything, sneered. But at this moment, a beam of light appeared in front of them. It was Zichun, who had used his spirit core. Chapter 48:22. After Zichun appeared, he looked forward. At the same time, a cold aura accompanied Zichun. Sensing this aura, Monk's expression changed. This was Zhang Haoyin's aura. As expected, he did not follow him in and went to find Zichun. "You are Zichun?" Lang Qing looked at the person who appeared in front of him, and a cold smile appeared on his face. The other monsters also looked at Zichun. Although it was their first time in this world, they had heard of Zichun's name. The situation of the god and demon invasion could be reversed because of the Tianwu world's power. Zichun was the master of the Tianwu world. Of course, in the eyes of the monsters, the god and demon were nothing. Otherwise, why would there be no movement until now? Similarly, in their eyes, Zichun was just an enemy to be careful of. Zichun looked at these monsters. They were 4 times more numerous than them. The reason why they were difficult to deal with was not only because of their strong combat power, but also because they were difficult to kill. Their tenacious vitality was something the 3 races did not have. Otherwise, even if they were at a disadvantage in terms of numbers, they could still fight. "You have a way?" Monk asked through voice transmission. Su Mingyao had brought everyone here, obviously waiting for Zichun's arrival. "It seems that you are indeed troublesome." Zichun looked at these monsters and thought of the Lord's words. The real trouble was coming. "Cut the crap. We won't mind killing one more of you today." Killing intent flashed in Lang Qing's eyes. He turned around and said, "Everyone, our chance has come. If we kill them, the Spirit Clan's luck will almost be ruined. Today, we will use their heads to welcome the arrival of our clan." Zichun furrowed his brows slightly. This guy really had a lot of crap to say. Then he would have to speak less. With the flowing saber in his hand, a terrifying aura was emitted from it. There was a hint of joy in Lang Qing's eyes. That's right, that's it. In his mind, the scene of a continuous battle appeared. Perhaps during the battle, the world would collapse and the monsters would fall from the sky. Zichun struck with his saber. The saber arc shot forward at a speed that far exceeded everyone's expectations, landing on the bodies of the people in front. Lang Qing did not have time to dodge. His body was cut in half by the saber arc. In an instant, a giant wolf appeared. However, it was a giant wolf that was split into 2. Its enormous body didn't heal, but it didn't run either. Instead, it floated in the air, and its demonic blood flowed down like a river. In the blink of an eye, 4 demons were killed, including Lang Qing. Perhaps Lang Qing's beautiful wish could be realized in the future, but he obviously couldn't see it. This This is impossible. The expressions of the other demon clan members at the back changed drastically. It was not that they had never seen a demon-grade weapon before. It should not be able to kill them at all. At most, they would be severely injured. Why did this happen? The spirit race people at the back were stunned as well. Then, they began to cheer. Shua. Zichen's figure flashed as he quickly approached the demon and began to attack. The demons reacted and revealed their most powerful bodies. However, in front of Zichen's streamlined saber, they couldn't resist at all. As the saber fell one after another, the invading demons were separated one after another and then died. This scene almost overturned everyone's worldview. However, for those who knew, they were not too surprised. This was the streamlined saber. It was the weapon used by the first spirit mountain back then. Under this saber, countless demons had died. Perhaps even demons had died. A few saint masters of the demon clan were naturally nothing in front of the streamlined saber. In addition, the person holding the saber was Zichen. From the current situation, he was recognized as the number one person in the same realm. It was not a waste for the number one person in the same realm to hold the weapon of the former number one person. As a result, the encirclement battle turned into a massacre in front of Zichen. The powerful means used by those demons were completely useless in front of Zichen. All the attacks were destroyed with one slash. If one slash couldn't kill them, he would use 2 slashes. After nearly 10 demons were killed in succession, the other demons finally realized how terrifying Zichen was and started to flee. This was an unparalleled battle. However, Tyrant and the others had already blocked their way. One by one, they took out their demon-grade weapons and attacked the demons. For a moment, demon blood poured down like a heavy downpour in the void. The blood was also extremely extraordinary. It surged with a bright light and was definitely something good. However, at this moment, the battle was breaking out. No one dared to go to the bottom of the void to take advantage of the situation. Therefore, everyone could only watch. When the battle was over, only 5 demons took the opportunity to escape. The others stayed forever and became corpses. Those corpses also fell to the bottom. Good stuff. Tyrant immediately went down to the bottom of the void, wanting to pick up those corpses. After all, they were the corpses of Saint Masters and were extremely valuable. However, Tyrant didn't see a single drop of blood, let alone a corpse. Obviously, someone had beaten him to it. Who is it? Tyrant's soul spread out in all directions, but he couldn't sense anything. He came as soon as the battle was over, but he didn't see anything. Could it be that someone had been lurking here since the beginning? Tyrant's figure soared into the sky. Having gained nothing, he looked at Zichen and said dejectedly, "The spoils of war seem to have been snatched away by someone." Zichen glanced at Tyrant. It's true. Tyrant thought that there was something wrong with Zichen's eyes and explained again. Zichen looked at everyone and said, "This time, the demons suffered a great loss. They should be quiet for a while. However, don't be careless. Once the demon army appears, the first thing they will deal with is you. So, you must be careful." Now that the battle was over, Zichen was going back. As the others had only been out for a short time, they wouldn't go back with Zichen. Everyone wanted to try their best to get some gains. At this moment, Zichen sensed the soul power fluctuation of Soul Suppressor and turned to look at him. A ray of light appeared from where Soul Suppressor was and headed straight for Zichen. When it approached, the light turned into a robe that flickered with lightning. The last time, Soul Suppressor gave something good, which was a sword of lightning, to Wang Xian. The demons also came to ask for a sword. Unexpectedly, Soul Suppressor gave a robe this time. Soul Suppressor had a robe. This was probably something that the demons didn't expect. Tyrant's eyes lit up and he subconsciously asked, "Can your robe turn into a Kasaya?" Zichen didn't reply. He kept the robe and left. If he told Tyrant, Zichen wouldn't have a peaceful life in the future. After not getting an answer from Zichen, Tyrant's gaze fell on Soul Suppressor again. No one knew what he was thinking. After the battle, the demons fled. Everyone dispersed and looked for their own opportunities. Tyrant didn't leave. Instead, he stayed here. He wanted to get a Kasaya robe from Soul Suppressor. When Zichen returned to the Tianwu world, Demon Refining King came to Zichen's side and said with a fawning expression, "My lord, I've collected everything. He took out a lot of demon blood and the spoils of war of the other demons. It turned out that the corpses that Tyrant couldn't find were secretly taken away by the other party. There's no need to give them to me. You can condense them. Zichen looked at Demon Refining King and said with a smile, I believe in you, my lord. Why do I have an ominous feeling when you say that? Zichen smiled and said, don't think too much. I won't leak the secret that you helped me refine the essence blood of the demons so that I can kill more demons in the future. Chapter 48:23. Because of the appearance of the 5 spirits' devil-sealing seal, all of the spirit race's attention was diverted. As a result, the god and demon race that had been chased to the entrance no longer paid attention to them. They were very safe. However, with Zichen and the appearance of the new Yao race, they didn't dare to make a big fuss, even though they knew that the spirit race could no longer unite. The people of the 2 races went back to the ancient books, but they couldn't find any clues about the Yao race, just like how they couldn't find any information about Gushan. Such a powerful person didn't leave behind any records. If he hadn't gone to another world, the world probably wouldn't have known who Gushan was. Zichen took out the robe. There were some natural patterns on the robe. They looked like tree patterns, but at the same time, they looked like colorful clouds embedded on the robe. Since it was given by Spirit Guardian, it was obviously something good. Zichen planned to refine it. His spirit robe had been destroyed in the battle, and it would take a long time to repair it. In terms of grade, that spirit robe couldn't compare to the robe in front of him. Just as Zichen was about to refine it, the monster refining king appeared. He stared with his small eyes and said in shock, the lightning energy is so dense and pure. Does it come from Spirit Guardian's robe? Zichen nodded and said, you know? The monster refining king blinked and said, the 5 spirits each have their own merits. Apart from the resources on the surface, there are also good things that they condense with their abilities. Everyone knows that Spirit Guardian can condense a lightning sword, but very few people know that Spirit Guardian has a robe. However, this little one has only heard of it. Spirit Guardian's lightning sword is extremely difficult to obtain. As for the robe, there's no need to even think about it. After countless years, Spirit Guardian might have only condensed one, and it was actually obtained by Sir. It can be seen how much Spirit Guardian trusts Sir. Zichen had guessed that the robe's origin wasn't ordinary, but he didn't expect it to be so rare. Just from the current situation, the robe was a holy venerate level weapon, but Zichen knew that the robe could grow during the refining process. One day, it might be able to reach the demon level. Once the robe leveled up, it would naturally be worth celebrating. However, right now, Zichen's top priority was to break through as soon as possible. In fact, to the entire Saint Spirit realm, becoming a fiend was the most important and crucial thing right now. This was because the demon race had already descended. When the entire race descended, the demon race and devil race would definitely appear. At that time, it would be a huge problem for the Saint Spirit world. As Zichen refined the robe, he also refined the inner core from before. After the last defeat, the demon race kept a low profile. They were almost invisible in the world, but everyone knew that this was only temporary. The demon race was waiting for an opportunity. In other words, the demon race was waiting for more powerful cultivators to arrive. Otherwise, they would be in a very passive situation. The previous crushing defeat had already been reported to the Yao clan. It had to be said that it caused a great commotion. For the time being, they hadn't received any other instructions, so they could only slowly heal themselves and wait. The others were still searching for their own opportunities. They mainly revolved around the 5 spirits and tried different tests. As time passed, more and more astrals passed the trial. There were even a small number of fiend gods among them. The things that the 5 spirits could give were also getting fewer and fewer. Unknowingly, the 5 spirits' demon sealing seal also became more and more loose. On a certain day, a terrifying ripple suddenly appeared in the void. It was as if the surface of a lake was being stirred up by a huge force. The void began to shake violently. A terrifying aura spread out in all directions. At this moment, all the living beings in the Saint Spirit world felt this fluctuation. It was as if the power of destruction had descended, causing everyone to feel a deep throb. Almost all the astrals near the fluctuation focused their attention on that place. They could see it. They could see it with their soul consciousness. The void there was forcibly torn apart by a powerful force. The entire void seemed to be unable to withstand a single blow from this force. A huge claw appeared from outside the void. It was as if a huge monster was trying to force its way into the saint spirit world. Everyone looked at this scene in shock. It was just a claw, but it caused such a huge commotion. Zichun stood in the sky above the Tianwu continent, but he couldn't see anything. He could only feel a strong sense of danger. He returned to the Tianwu world and asked the two old men what had happened. The white-robed old man said, "The demon race is planning to forcefully descend. The five spirits' protection is about to shatter. The spirit race is at its last moment." The black-robed old man said, "The spirit race will perish on its own." Perish on its own? Seniors, don't you plan to save them? Zichun looked at the two of them. We don't have that ability. We can't save them even if we want to. Most importantly, back then when Gu Shan sealed the demon race, the two of us lost our jobs. Speaking of which, the demon race's return this time is only to restore this world to its former state. The black-robed old man looked at Zichun. A world with the demon race is a complete world. As for what will happen next, no one can predict. But there is one thing you must remember. The demon race originally belonged here. That was all he said. Zichun's figure flickered and disappeared from his spot. He arrived at the place where spirit suppression was and happened to see a huge claw descending from the distance. It was also at this moment that the five spirits released light and trembled together. A large net appeared in the void and enveloped the huge claw. When the huge claw met the net, a buzzing sound could be heard. During this time, an even more terrifying energy shockwave was formed. In the blink of an eye, the huge claw was badly mutilated. However, it did not retreat. Instead, it forcefully descended. When it came into contact with the net, the huge claw had already turned into white bones. Blood splattered down and passed through the net, arriving at the void where the saint spirit world was located. The aura exuded from the blood made people feel terrified and uneasy. At this moment, Zichun understood that it was a demon. It seemed that after the demon race's crushing defeat last time, the demon race's demons were planning to break through the seal and enter. Zichun and all the other spirit race people were extremely nervous. They did not know if the five spirits formation could stop the invading demons. The void continued to tremble and cracks spread. A second claw forced its way into the void and clashed with the net. The two claws, which had turned into white bones, grabbed the net from the left and right and began to exert force. The net twisted violently and the entire void trembled. This tremor spread throughout the saint spirit world. At this moment, all the spirit race people felt an unprecedented sense of danger. The fiend gods guarding the entrance saw that the situation was not good and began to retreat. Rip. Accompanied by an ear-piercing sound, the net was torn apart by the white bones. The cracks continued to spread, and the entire demon sealing seal was in imminent danger. After the net was torn apart, a wolf's head appeared. Chapter 48:24. Zichun looked at the wolf's head. It was just a head, but it was actually bigger than the entire body of a saint venerable demon. Once it fully descended into this world, it might be comparable to a world. Spirit realm, we're back. The wolf spoke in human language and spread throughout the saint spirit realm, announcing the arrival of the demon race, or rather, the return of the demon race. The giant wolf wanted to pass through the large net. Because there were still some traces left, the parts that came in contact with its body emitted white smoke, and its flesh was melting away. Too weak, you're all too weak. Only half of the enormous wolf's body had crawled out, but its sole remembrance had already scanned the surroundings, taking in everything nearby. It laughed loudly. Rather than saying that Gu Shan sealed us, it's better to say that he truly sealed you, causing you to become so weak. That's good. After the demon race returns, we'll lead you to become stronger. The large net was violently torn apart, and the giant wolf stood completely in the saint spirit realm. Its body was even bigger than a complete world. Standing in the void, The aura that naturally surged around its body was so strong that even the void could not withstand it. It began to distort violently, as if it could shatter at any time. A gap was forcibly opened in the five spirits' seal, and boundless energy fell through the gap. The giant wolf laughed, its eyes filled with cruelty. But before that, we need to fill our stomachs first. We've been hungry for too long. Just as the giant wolf opened its bloody mouth, a ray of light shot out from Spirit Suppressor. It was a branch flickering with lightning. It approached like lightning and quickly extended, wrapping around the giant wolf's body. In the next moment, the branch wrapped around the giant wolf and dragged it towards Spirit Suppressor. The giant wolf struggled, and its vast demonic aura surged and spread. During this time, the two nearby giant planets were blasted apart by the remaining force, and countless screams were heard. Haha, the five-spirit seal is only so. The giant wolf was still laughing, but it no longer had the strength to struggle. It was dragged in front of Spirit Suppressor. A black vortex appeared above Spirit Suppressor, and the giant wolf was sucked into the vortex. As if it was swallowed by Spirit Suppressor, the giant wolf did not move at all. The terrifying aura that surged between heaven and earth also disappeared at this moment. A demonic rank demon race was so easily dealt with by Spirit Suppressor. At this moment, even Zichun was very surprised and shocked. The Spirit Suppressor, who usually didn't show his strength, actually had such a powerful technique. At this moment, Zichun saw the light on Spirit Guardian's body flickering and dimming. This made him have a bad feeling in his heart. Just as most people were immersed in excitement, a second demonic aura appeared in the void. This time, because of the giant wolf clearing the way, it was relatively easier for the other party to enter. However, whether it was intentional or not, the other party forcefully tore open the net a little, causing him to be badly mutilated and suffer heavy injuries. Even though the demon clan possessed extraordinary vitality, they could not immediately heal such injuries. What appeared was still a giant wolf. Its eyes flickered with a dim light as it roared at the sky. It was unknown whether it was roaring in anger or joy. A flower flew over from another direction. It was connected to the devourer dragon. When it got close, the flower opened its mouth like a giant beast. It swallowed the howling wolf in one gulp. It turned out that devouring dragons could also devour demons. Seeing this, the Spirit Clan began to cheer loudly. Previously, Spirit Suppressor only used a small branch to destroy a demonic rank demon wolf. Next, the Devourer Dragon's flower had the same power. What was there to be afraid of? Any demonic rank demon clan member that came would be destroyed. The third demonic rank demon clan member arrived. It was also a wolf demon. This time, it came in even more easily. The net in the sky was unknowingly destroyed beyond recognition. A gourd flew over from the horizon. When it got close, the gourd shone brightly. 8 figures surrounded the giant wolf and seemed to form a strange formation. The giant wolf was sucked into the gourd. The gourd returned to the 8 immortals and disappeared. The Spirit Clan cheered again. 3 demonic rank existences had been devoured. This was enough to prove the strength of the 5 spirits. If more demons came, they would definitely be devoured. While the Spirit Clan was cheering, they were already waiting to see what would happen next. Zichun was worried because the demon clan would not be so stupid as to come to their deaths. What's more, they were demonic existences. They must be up to something. Therefore, while everyone was enjoying the joint performance of the demon clan and the 5 spirits, Zichun activated his spirit core and shuttled through the 5 spirits area. He was looking for his friends. After he found them, he brought them to his side. After passing by the 8 immortals and the devourer dragon, Zichun saw that the other party's light had dimmed. The ominous feeling in his heart grew stronger. Therefore, he increased his speed. At this moment, the 4th demonic demon clan member arrived. The demons who had luckily escaped Zichun's clutches previously had sorrowful looks in their eyes when they saw that it was the wolf tribe that had appeared. At the same time, there was also a deep sense of guilt. It was because of their failure that the ancestor had to come in person. Obviously, they had come to their deaths. For the sake of the demon clan's arrival, the ancestor had died tragically. The 4th to act was the heavenly serpent vine. Like a heavenly serpent, it approached from afar and wrapped around the giant wolf, then brought it away. During this time, the giant wolf struggled wildly. Demonic power surged wildly, but it still could not shake off the vine. As expected, the fourth demonic giant wolf died. At this point, among the 5 spirits, only Heavenly Sun had yet to act. In Zichen's world, the 2 old men shook their heads and sighed at this scene. This was a big move. Big move. When the 5th giant wolf descended, the surviving demon clan members all knelt in the void and kowtowed. They knew that this ancestor who had only had time to take a look at the spiritual realm would also fall. Heavenly Sun had arrived. It was as if a sun had appeared in everyone's vision. This was the first time the spirit clan members had seen Heavenly Sun's methods. Under the dazzling light of Heavenly Sun, the bodies of the demon clan members and demons seemed to be frozen. In the next moment, the demon clan members disappeared into Heavenly Sunday. At this point, the 5 demonic demon clan members who had descended into this world were either killed or devoured by the 5 spirits. Just as the entire spirit clan erupted into cheers, the big messy net in the sky collapsed with a loud bang. Then, the 5 spirits, who were releasing rays of light around their bodies, withdrew all their light, as if they had fallen into a deep sleep. The 5 spirits' demon sealing seal was broken. Your sacrifice will never be forgotten by the demon clan. Now, all demon clan members, descend. A cold and loud voice sounded from the sky. Then, one after another, huge figures descended from the sky. Chapter 48:25. They had lost 5 demon-level powerhouses, and the demon clan had broken the 5 spirits restriction in advance. To the demon clan, this was a huge loss, but they had no choice. Zichun had killed too many demon clan members in this battle, causing their early progress to be extremely unsuccessful. Under the demon clan's pursuit of responsibility, the wolf clan had no choice but to make such a choice. To the wolf clan, this loss was too great, but to the demon clan, this sacrifice was worth it. The demon clan invaded, or descended. A huge black hole appeared in the void, and endless demon power surged out from the black hole. Creatures as large as planets appeared one after another. Just as the demon clan descended, Zichun, who had acted in advance, found the last demon ape, and then brought everyone back to Tianwu world. The demon-level demon clan was the first to descend. Among them was a fierce tiger. It landed outside a star field, opened its mouth, and swallowed the nearby planet world. A planet world disappeared. A world in one bite. It was like chewing candy, making crisp cracking sounds in its mouth. That was the sound of the world shattering. Its appetite was huge. In the blink of an eye, half of the huge star field was gone. Before the spirit clan members on the other planets could rejoice, a second demon descended and ate the rest of the planets. A star field became the food of 2 demons and disappeared in the blink of an eye. In the void, some people saw this scene, and their faces were filled with disbelief. It was completely different from the invasion of the gods and demons. This time, the demon clan did not occupy planets or resources. They seemed to have swallowed the world just for food. More demon clan members appeared. The demon-level existences ate a planet in one bite. The crisp, chewing sound echoed in the void, and it was exceptionally horrifying. The demon clan members below the demon clan directly swallowed people. This time, it was the true destruction of the world. Brothers, it's time for us to take revenge. The few saint masters of the wolf clan who had survived were filled with grief and indignation. As the large army descended, their eyes were filled with boundless anger. Slaughter, devour. They revealed their true forms and rushed into the crowd as if they had gone mad. They began to devour crazily. Lord 5 spirits, help! Help! In the face of these crazy demon clan members, these people who were seeking opportunities beside the 5 spirits had no room to resist. They began to run and seek help. Lord Zichun, the demon clan is invading. Come and help. Zichun, help. Some people were calling Zichen's name, and Zichun had already returned to Tianwu world. Star regions were disappearing one after another. There were simply too many invading demons, and there were also quite a few demon-level existences. Otherwise, they definitely wouldn't have used the method of sending demons to their deaths in advance. After Demon Clan's members of the Demon Clan, in a demon level, and Demon Clan members of the Tianwu realm. It was a middle-aged man dressed in black. His eyes were filled with killing intent. He pointed at the star field in front of him and said, "From today onwards, this is the Wolf Fort. All the creatures inside are our slaves. From now on, this vast star field would become the territory of the Wolf Clan." They were lucky to still be alive. Unfortunately, the food that the Demon Clan had hoarded would be eaten up sooner or later. The Demon Clan's invasion was not to destroy the world. They wanted to enslave the Ling Clan. Therefore, after eating their fill, they divided the demon-level territories into their own territories. However, the Ling Clan would have to pay a huge price to feed all the Demon Clan members. The price might be the disappearance of half of the world. The place that the demon race wanted to occupy was definitely a place with a lot of resources. Among them, the various sacred clans were a very good place. Suddenly, many Demon Clan members and Demon Clan members went to where the sacred clans were. However, when they got close, they did not attack recklessly. Instead, they observed quietly. In some places, even they could sense some dangerous auras. It could be seen that some of the Demon Clan members were powerful enough to intimidate the Demon Clan members. Among the survivors last time, there was a man named Lang Feng. After he lost to Wang Xian'er, he became more cautious. When he met Zichun, he was lucky enough to escape. The location of the Wolf Castle was decided. He was the first to return and bowed to the youngest elder. "Bring me to Zichun." This middle-aged Demon Clan member only had one sentence to say. Then, the two of them flashed and arrived outside the Tianwu world where Zichun was. The Tianwu world flashed with lightning. It was extremely extraordinary. A murderous intent surged in the eyes of the middle-aged Demon Clan member. When Zichun returned to the Tianwu world, the others were still in shock. Because they had left in time, they had avoided the Demon Clan's invasion. However, they saw the scene of the Demon Clan members and Demon Clan members devouring the world. One world after another was gone in one bite. How many Ling Clan members had died? Moreover, they were devouring one world after another. Even those who were used to killing felt very uncomfortable. The Demon Clan has invaded. The restrictions between heaven and earth are gone. I believe that the door to the Demon Clan will open soon. Everyone, work hard in your cultivation and try to break through as soon as possible. Zichun smiled faintly and said casually. In fact, he was very worried at this moment. The Wolf Clan had paid a great price. They might come looking for trouble with him. Would the holy spirits in his world be enough for the Demon Clan to devour? At this moment, Li Haoqing arrived in Zichun's world. "The ancestor tree has informed me that you and the people in the Tianwu world should go back to the clan and lie low for a while. This was undoubtedly a very good choice." After Lei Zhengke was gone, the people of the Holy Thunder Clan had been looking forward to Zichun's return. The monk glanced at Zichun and said nothing. The others were also indifferent. Zichun smiled and said, "I appreciate your kindness, but we won't go back." "Do you know the consequences of not going back?" There was a hint of anger in Li Haoqing's eyes. Now is not the time to sulk. The most important thing is to find a way to survive. If you are alive, you will have a future. Don't you understand this? Li Haoqing was really angry. In fact, Zichun was not the only one who was disappointed in the Holy Thunder Clan. Everyone who left the Holy Thunder Clan together with him was also disappointed. However, Lei Zhengke was dead, and the Holy Thunder Clan was leaderless. They had to take charge of the situation. Otherwise, the Holy Thunder Clan would fall apart. The current situation of the Sacred Thunder Tribe was much better than before. Li Haoqing and the others knew very well that the Holy Thunder Clan's Thunder Tree was brought back by Saint Zichun. Its original body came from spirit suppressing. This also explained why the ancestor tree was so good to Zichun. It was difficult for others to get a piece of thunder leaf, but he could get a lot of it here. Zichun glanced at the sky and said, "This is not sulking. This is my real intention. Moreover, even if we leave now, it will be too late." An aura filled with dense killing intent appeared outside the Tianwu world. Zichun released his soul remembrance and saw a giant wolf appear. The arrival of a demon-level existence was faster than he had expected. You guys stay here. I will go and take a look. Chapter 48:26. As Zichun arrived outside, the giant wolf opened its mouth and a terrifying fluctuation spread out. Zichun had killed demons before, and more than one at that. But the demons of another world were completely different concepts from here. Zichun stood in front of the other party. Just the aura suppression was hard to withstand and suffocate him. Energy shook around him. With the power of yin and yang protecting his body, Zichun blocked this pressure. The giant demon wolf's eyes flashed with surprise. It was surprised that a Saint Lord could resist its aura. You're not slow. Zichun faintly smiled. Facing the demon level, he didn't fear it at all. The flowing saber appeared in his hand. If before Zichun had used his energy to block this aura, then with the flowing saber in his hand, he had the confidence to fight the demon. This time Zichun no longer suppressed the aura of the flowing saber. After fully releasing it, the infernal energy of the flowing saber caused even Langmo's expression to change. In his true body state, his senses were extremely sharp. He could sense the infernal energy of the demon level contained within the saber. In other words, this saber had once been stained with the blood of demons, and more than one at that. Spirit world has been sealed away for countless years, yet there is still such a vicious saber. The swallowing force around him vanished. Langmo looked at the flowing saber in front of him. At this moment, he understood why his people had suffered such heavy losses. With this saber, he didn't need any secret arts to easily kill those of the same level. Just the grade of this saber was something he had never seen before in his life. Seeing the giant wolf withdraw its aura, Zichun said, "If I said that last time was a misunderstanding, would you believe me?" The giant wolf's suppressed emotions instantly erupted. Die! Its claw fell. The void twisted, but it didn't shatter. It wasn't that Langmo had restrained his strength, but that the monster race had invaded. Saint Spirit World's world was gradually returning to normal, and even the void was being reinforced. If it weren't for last time, Langmo might not have been so angry. It was because of Zichun's slaughter that the wolf race suffered heavy losses and delayed their invasion. They could only use 5 demons to fill in the gaps. That's 5 demons. The wolf clan had been passed down for countless generations, but only 8 demons had appeared. In the face of this terrifying attack, Zichun did not counterattack. Instead, he placed his saber in front of him and chose to defend himself. The power of yin and yang gathered crazily towards the flowing blade, and the murderous aura became more and more terrifying. Zichun blocked with his saber. Boom! The claw landed and hit the flowing saber. A huge tremor was heard in the void as Zichun was sent flying backward. Divine light surged on his body, neutralizing the remaining power of this attack. 3,000 meters away, Zichun stabilized his body. With the help of the flowing breaking blade, he managed to block the attack without suffering any damage. Rays of light appeared behind them as Tyrant and the others followed them out. Don't come over. Zichun glanced behind him and immediately shouted to stop him. Even with the flowing broken blade, it was already so difficult for him, let alone the others. Langmo's gaze, looking at those people in the distance, had a strange look in his eyes. Those people all had weapons in their hands. Through their auras, they were all demon-grade materials. This was also the reason why they could stand in the same world as him. Otherwise, how could mere Saint Venerables have the qualifications to stand under the might of a demon? His eyes flickered. Fortunately, I didn't swallow your world. I didn't expect such a small place to have so many good things. The weapons in Zichun's hands made Langmo very envious. Although the weapons in the hands of those people behind him were a bit crude, the materials themselves were extraordinary. It was also excellent to use as a reward for the juniors. It could be said that at a glance, everything was a treasure. Once he had these things, the overall strength of his wolf clan could increase by another 10%. If he could obtain Zichun's weapons, the overall strength of his wolf clan could double. So what if he lost 5 demons? I, Langmo, with a single saber, can still intimidate everyone. When it thought of this scene, its spectral eye gradually became fiery as it stared fixedly at Zichun. In the next moment, he charged forward. A strong storm appeared in the void. The storm was formed by countless wind blades. It was abnormally terrifying. Wherever it passed, cracks appeared in the unstable void. The monk and the others stood in place. As the wind from the edge attacked, small wounds appeared on their bodies. Not to mention getting close, even standing in place was difficult. Just as they retreated, a bright saber light appeared in their vision. The terrifying hurricane was split in two. The saber light soared into the sky and landed on Langmo's head. A powerful force surged, and the surrounding phenomenon disappeared. Zichun held the saber with both hands. The flowing saber trembled and buzzed. In front of him, a bloody wound appeared on Langmo's forehead. He was actually injured. Standing in the distance, Lang Feng saw this scene and his expression changed. The other party was just as Saint Venerable. Even if he had an extraordinary weapon, it should be impossible for him to injure the old ancestor. Of course, the most shocking thing was that with the physique of the monster race, this injury would quickly heal, perhaps in the blink of an eye. This was a natural reaction of the body. There was no need for additional control. But no, the old ancestor's injury had not healed yet. What was going on? One after another, planets disappeared from Zichen's senses. They were the star fields that Emoijan had occupied. Other monsters were coming. Langemo, that saber is strange. A voice came from the side. It was a black leopard. It walked over from the star field that disappeared. When it came closer, it turned into human form and looked at Zichen. Kid, your weapon is not bad. Give it to me. I, Leopard you, will protect you from now on. Swoosh. Langemo turned into human form. There was a clear line of blood between his eyebrows. He looked at Leopard you. You want to be enemies with my wolf clan? Leopard you waved his hand. Don't be so absolute. Only those who are fated will know. I feel that I am fated with this kid. Since you're talking about fate, I, Hulan, also feel that I am fated with this kid. A ferocious tiger flew over from the distance and turned into a man in flowery robes. Zichen's expression became serious. He was not afraid of a single demon. With the flowing saber in hand, he could fight one or two. But three of them came at once. This was troublesome. And from his senses, the nearby planets were still disappearing. Clearly, more demons were coming in this direction. Kid, what are you waiting for? Tell me who is your fated partner. Leopard you stared at Zichun coldly. If you say it well, you will be rewarded. If you don't, you will die. Zichun seemed to think about it seriously. It's a little difficult. Why don't the three of you choose one first? I don't really care. A loud laugh came from the horizon. Leopard you, this spirit tribe member is trying to drive a wedge between you. It seems that he thinks the three of you are fools. Zichun quickly said, if I say no, would you believe me? Leopard Yu's eyes were filled with cold killing intent. I believe you, so you must believe me. I am really hungry, so I need your world to satisfy my hunger. Trust me, this is not revenge. Chapter 48:27. Hearing Zichen's words, everyone was amused. Yu looked at Zichun. I like your description of a cultured person, but cultured people also need to eat, don't they? The other Abyss Devils all looked at Zichun with half-smiles. Zichun was very clear that although they looked harmless now, everyone was actually paying attention to his flowing saber. If things went wrong, someone might take the opportunity to snatch it away. Were these guys easy to deal with? Cultured people? Did you guys count as burly people? Bah. I'm talking about myself. I do need to eat, but I think compared to a supreme treasure, even if I'm hungry for a while, it's nothing. Zichun said with a smile. What do you guys think? Langmo said sarcastically, are you going to run away? Don't you want your world and your people? If you don't want it, I'll take it. The tiger demon smiled and said, I can also take some. Zichun continued, compared to a supreme treasure, these are all external objects. Moreover, where there's life, there's hope, right? If I really run away this time, once I become a demon, I'll come back to talk about old times with you guys. So, you've really misunderstood. I think this blade is not enough for you guys, and the place I'm going to is where this blade came from. Zichun raised the wandering blade in his hand. I don't dare to say anything else, But there are no less than 9 weapons in that place that are of the same grade as this blade, or even far superior to it. The expressions of the demons changed. Bao said, "Do you know the consequences of lying to us?" Zichen said, "Of course I know. So all of this can only be true. I wonder if you guys have heard of Gushan?" As soon as these words came out, the expressions of the few abyss devils changed. Everyone's eyes were filled with hatred, but then it was fear. The tiger demon asked, "Is Gushan still alive?" "I don't know. I only know where the world Gushan left behind is, and I accidentally got this blade." Zichen said, "At that time, I was not a saint yet, so I only had the ability to take out one." Looking at their changing expressions, Zichun continued, "So, please allow me to go there again. As long as I take out the other weapons, everyone will naturally have one. This is equivalent to my declaration of allegiance. From now on, we are no longer enemies, okay?" The emotions of these demons fluctuated greatly. Knowing the origins of the saber, they naturally understood why the saber was so extraordinary. How could the weapons made by Gushan be extraordinary? Fortunately, Gushan was no longer there. Otherwise, they would have immediately turned around and left. "How can we trust you?" The last demon that appeared was obviously tempted. "I can guarantee it with my world." Zichen pointed behind him and said, "And my friends, didn't you just say that these are all external objects?" Langmo mocked, "It's up to you whether you believe me or not. I can also guarantee that I will be back soon, at most 3 to 5 days." Zichen solemnly said, "If I don't come back in 3 to 5 days, then you can destroy my world." To be honest, in my world, there are a lot of demon-level materials that were taken from Gushan's world. If you still don't believe me, you can send someone to go with me. However, I can't guarantee your safety because the demon materials I obtained were all beast bones. I was very puzzled at first, but now it seems that they should be the bones of the demon race. It was publicly known that Gushan was not friendly to the Yao clan, so they believed Zichen's words. After looking at each other, no one chose to go with Zichen. It was not that they were afraid of Zichen, but they were worried about Gushan. After all, Zichen's world was here. Even if he ran away, the world would be gone. To be honest, they also didn't think that he could run away, because if he wanted to, he would have already run away. Why would he stay until now? "Okay, we will wait for you for 5 days. If you don't come back in 5 days, not only will your world disappear," Langmo pointed at the people behind Zichun, "they will also suffer a fate worse than death, especially the women. Our Langmo clan is very experienced in dealing with them." "Okay, everyone wait here for a moment." Zichen turned around and flew into the world. Tyrant and the others also followed. They were confused and didn't know what Zichen was doing. This was a disaster for the entire Saint Spirit world. It was a situation that couldn't be solved. Everyone was in danger. After Zichen returned to the world, he saw that Li Haoqing was still here, so he chatted with him for a while and Li Haoqing left. Those demons saw this scene, but they didn't care. A mere Saint Venerable was like an ant in their eyes. Lang Feng, who had been following them, said worriedly, "Elder, what if they escape through the teleportation formation?" Langmo smiled. This possibility didn't exist at all. Because the demon race was about to take over this world, then the spirit world would have no secrets to them. Unless Zichun could run to the immortal spell world, they really weren't afraid. Zichun returned to his room and took out the Demon King. He looked at the other party with a smile. "Sir, your smile is too scary." The Demon King shrunk his body, and a bad feeling appeared in his eyes. Zichun said, "You've seen those fellows from before. What do you think?" The Demon King said angrily, "A bunch of fellows who don't know the immensity of heaven and earth. They actually dare to threaten my lord. If this little one was at his peak, I would definitely slap these blind idiots to death. If I don't come back this time, then you'll be free." The smile on Zichen's face became even wider. "Sir, don't scare me. Sir, you will definitely come back. This little one still needs to rely on you." The Demon King said with a pitiful expression, "If you don't come back, this little one will definitely apologize with my life." Zichun stopped smiling, and the Demon King quickly returned to his normal expression. "If I don't come back for the time being, think of a way to create a demonic aura. Before the Demon King could refuse, Zichun said decisively, I don't care what method you think of, you have to create one. As for when to do it, you can decide on the timing. After saying this, Zichun left. He went to find Su Mingyao, and the two of them talked about some things in private. Naturally, it was about the future. Previously, Zichun had said it casually, but he wasn't sure if it would succeed. Therefore, before he left, he could only think of the worst-case scenario. After doing this, Zichun took out a red gem. It looked like an eye. This was given to him by Miao Miao on the 3rd floor of the Pagoda of Confinement. After coming out, he tried to use it many times, but he didn't succeed. This time, he planned to try again. As energy was injected, the red gem began to glow. The blood-red light enveloped Zichun. Chapter 48-28. Zichun had probed the red gem more than once, but there was no reaction every time. This time was different. After the invasion of the Demon Clan, Zichun sensed the abnormality of the gem, so he decided to take a risk. He believed that this was the trouble that the Lord had mentioned. Zichun looked at the Pagoda of Confinement in front of him, and his emotions fluctuated. He had indeed come to this place. Another world, Pagoda of Confinement. Only this place had the ability to stop the crisis of the Saint Spirit realm. Zichun walked forward. The closed door of the Pagoda of Confinement opened by itself, and Zichun walked in. It was still the first level, but there were much fewer pythons. After arriving here, Zichun released his soul remembrance, and the rules of heaven and earth were once again mobilized by him. When Zichun arrived here, he realized that he was still the protector from before, and he still had control over the rules. Therefore, he quickly arrived in front of the little black snake. The little snake stuck its head out and opened its mouth. Bubbles flew out of its mouth and exploded dozens of feet away. The airflow surged, shaking out ripples. The other party was also extremely bored. As Zichun approached, the little black snake heard the movement and turned its head to see Zichun. My lord, why are you here? Nothing, so I came here to take a look. Zichun smiled faintly. How have you been recently? My lord, everything is fine. The little black snake swayed its body and spat out bubbles. Zichun squatted down. Do you want to leave? The little black snake hesitated for a moment, then shook its head. No, I'm used to it here. The last time Zichun came, when he was about to come into contact with the little black snake, he vaguely saw a person who asked him if he was ready. At that time, Zichun didn't know what the other party was talking about and thought it was an illusion. This time, he came again, and he was prepared. However, the little black snake didn't want to leave. It would be a lie if he didn't leave. He must have guessed his intentions and was purposely angering him. It wasn't stupid. The scenery here isn't very good. Why don't you follow me outside to take a look? Zichun smiled slightly. The boundless world is very beautiful. Sir, you can't be so kind, right? The little black snake looked at Zichun and said, Besides, I'm really used to staying here. I don't want to go anywhere. Mister, you should find someone else. Zichun stood up. Forget it then. I'll go to the 2nd floor to find Scarlet Ape. Maybe it'll be willing to leave with me. Sir, please wait a moment. Wait a moment. Seeing that Zichun was about to leave, the little black snake hurriedly shouted, We haven't seen each other in so many years. I was just joking with you, sir. Why are you treating me like an outsider? Milord is my dear milord. We are family. Isn't it normal to joke around? Zichun walked back. Have you made up your mind? Are you leaving with me? The little black snake nodded repeatedly. As long as milord releases me, from now on, no matter if it's a mountain of blades or a sea of flames, as long as milord says a word, this little one will do it without hesitation. Just when the little black snake thought that it would have to go back and forth with this cautious lord for a few more rounds, it saw this lord actually walk in front of the large rock and say, I'm ready? So fast? The little black snake was stunned. This didn't seem to be milord's style. Just as Zichun finished speaking, the energy in his body began to surge crazily, pouring into the black rock in front of him like a tide. Other than the energy in his body, there was also Zichun's soul power and physical strength. It could be said that his essence, energy, and spirit were all flowing away. and the black rock was like a bottomless pit, crazily devouring Zichen's energy. Zichen's face gradually paled, and his aura weakened. The little black snake asked worriedly, "My lord, are you okay?" Zichen didn't say anything. It wasn't that he didn't want to, but that he couldn't. The little black snake's eyes flashed, and it said, "My lord, don't die to save this little one. That wouldn't be too good." The tone was still respectful, but the words might not be. Zichen's face became even paler, as if he had suffered a heavy injury. The little black snake clicked its tongue and said, "My lord, why do you have to do this? After saving me, you'll die. Speaking of which, you still don't know the limitless power of my 8 heads? My lord, don't die. When I come out, I'll definitely serve you well." The little black snake's eyes were already suffused with a cold intent. The unshakable black rock on its body was already showing signs of abnormality. The last bit of energy in Zichen's body was exhausted, and he could no longer stand. He sat on the ground, his face as pale as paper. "My lord, thank you. Now, just watch carefully." The little black snake laughed loudly, and even its voice was much louder. A powerful energy surged out from its body, accompanied by a loud boom. The black rock flew high up, and the little black snake broke free. Without the black rock's suppression, boundless demonic energy began to spread. The little black snake rushed into the sky, and its laughter became even louder. "I've finally broken free. Gushan, F****ku. Boundless demonic energy spread, and all the pythons on this floor looked in this direction. Zichen raised his head to look at this scene, and no expression could be seen on his pale face. "Little ones, let this little my lord open his eyes and show him what true strength is." The little black snake hissed into the sky, like a dragon breaking free. All the pythons on this floor raised their heads, and their bodies began to decompose, turning into pure energy, and flew towards the little black snake. The little black snake opened its mouth and sucked, and the energy from all directions entered its stomach. Its body began to expand, 10 zhang, 100 zhang, 1,000 zhang. In the blink of an eye, it had reached 10,000 zhang. Its huge body, and the terrifying aura around it, made Zichen feel that the other party was indeed equivalent to a demon. Perhaps he came to the right place. 10,000 zhang was not the end, but the beginning. As more energy came from all directions, the little black snake changed again. Next to the huge head, another head appeared. Zichen's expression changed slightly, and he thought of the other party's name. 8 heads. Could it be the 3rd, 4th, and 5th heads grew out one after another? So it's really 8 heads. Zichen's face was still pale. The previous consumption was more frightening than a great battle, and now he was very weak, without any fighting strength. The 8 heads in the air had already grown 7 heads, but the energy from the surroundings had become extremely faint, and in the end, it was gone. "Damn it, I haven't recovered to the past. It's all because of you idiots. Back then, you killed my incarnation and took away too much of my energy." The little black snake, who had become 7 heads, cursed, and then lowered its head to look at Zichen, its 14 eyes flashing with a faint cold light. "Little my lord, I'm very sorry to let you see my appearance. According to the rules of the 8 heads, anyone who sees my true body must die. So, little my lord, don't blame me for being ungrateful. If you want to blame someone, blame yourself for being an idiot. Speaking of friendship with me, little my lord, do you think you're worthy? Calling you little my lord, do you really think you're little my lord? So die." The 7 heads swooped down at the same time, as if they were going to tear the tiny Zichen into 7 pieces. P.S. From tomorrow onwards, I will be studying with all my might and preparing for a new book. The updates will be unstable, and I can't guarantee a single chapter. I suggest that everyone save up and read it, or wait until the end of the book. When will the book be finished? Chapter 48:29. The earth shook and the world trembled. The pagoda of confinement seemed to be on the verge of collapsing. Previously, when the little black snake turned into a giant, it did not cause such a commotion. Zichen sat on the ground without moving. He did not have the strength to fight back, But he was not afraid. His expression was still calm. Naturally, his body was not cruelly torn apart by the little black snake. The commotion disappeared, but he was still sitting there. In front of him, 8 heads turned into a little black snake and was pressed down by a huge black rock. Unlike before, the little black snake had 7 heads and was looking at Zichun in shock. Zichun said calmly, "It's good to be confident. We can't lack confidence, but we can't be too confident, right?" The 7 heads nodded at the same time. "Little Lord, you're right. This little one will remember this, forever remember this. I hope that Lord will be magnanimous and save this little one." Little Duo was wrong, really wrong. After being pressed down by the black rock, 8 heads turned back into the little black snake from before and lowered his posture. "Lord, it's a misunderstanding. This little one was only joking with Lord." The little black snake kowtowed repeatedly. "Please save me, Lord." Zichun looked at 8 heads. "I can save you, but there won't be a next time." Yes, this little one knows his mistake. Knows his mistake. This is the only time. There won't be a next time. Zichun stood up and waved his hand. The black rock moved away from the little black snake and flew towards Zichun. It landed in Zichun's palm. It was only the size of a palm, and its surface was clearly defined. It was a small black peak. There was hesitation in the little black snake's eyes. Zichun glanced at it, and the little black snake immediately shrank its head. Its body enlarged, but this time, it did not dare to grow any bigger. It was only 3 feet long. "Follow me up." Zichun walked forward, leaving his back open to Ba Shou, completely unguarded. 8 heads followed behind without any struggle or hesitation. Perhaps it understood Zichun's character, but it was not fooled at all. In fact, it was already regretting its actions. It should not have been so reckless. Gushan was so cunning back then. How could he have let it go so easily? Leaving no room for maneuver? He should have waited for Scarlet Ape to be rescued before making a move. Based on Scarlet Ape's violent temper and its stupid brain, it would definitely not be able to hold back. Thinking of Qi Yin, the little black snake regretted it even more. Qi Yin, this brainless fellow, should be the one to take the lead. Perhaps at that time, it could find other opportunities. The Ba Shou was filled with regret. As Zichun moved forward, he began to recover his essence, qi, and spirit. Previously, he had used up all of them because he had refined the Black Stone Mountain. This was also the backup plan that Gushan had left behind. However, there was a prerequisite, and that was that they had to endure the devouring power of the Blackstone Mountain. If Zichun had rashly tried to break the seal the last time, his power would have been completely devoured by the Black Mountain. Not only would he fail to refine it, he might even make a huge mistake. Badu followed behind Zichun and swallowed all the pythons on this floor, but it did not restore it to its former peak. In other words, these pythons were a part of its power. Back then, it had released a lot of its power, but only a little of it had returned. It was very depressed. Zichun walked to the 2nd floor. When he was on this floor, he had killed many monkeys. When he arrived at Qi Yan's place, the other party glanced at Zichun and glanced at Badu. A hint of disdain flashed in its eyes. "Monkey, what's with that look?" Feeling mocked, Badu immediately became angry. Everyone probably felt the commotion earlier. "I guessed it was you, idiot," Qi Yan said rudely. "Not only are you stupid, but you also think that others are as stupid as you." Seeing that Badu's body was trembling in anger, Zichun immediately said, "Since Senior knows, then I won't say any more nonsense." Zichun immediately stepped forward and reached out to touch the Black Stone Mountain. His energy began to flow away. The angry Badu's eyes began to flicker again. Qi Yan mocked, "What, do you want to try again?" Badu did not speak. Zichun could not speak. "After so many years, you're still the same. This proves that your race is too vicious." Qi Yan mocked, "This is your nature. You can't change it." "Qi Yan, you're bullshitting," Badu said angrily, many eyes staring at Qi Yan. This idiot that everyone knew was starting to teach him a lesson. Didn't that mean that he was even more stupid than this idiot? Qi Yan sneered, "Your strength hasn't increased, but your temper has. How about this, when I come out, I'll trouble you to say what you said earlier again." I'll say it again. You think I'm afraid of you? Badu's 7 heads were all staring at Qi Yin. Let me tell you, Qi Yin, I've never been afraid of you, in the past and in the future. I usually just don't bother with you. That's why I gave Gu Shan the illusion that I'm the weakest one. That's why I'm locked at the bottom. When Qi Yin heard this, he was so angry that he laughed. You really can't change a dog's habit. You're already locked up in this place, and you still want to compete. What's wrong with being locked up at the top? Did you eat my shit? Badu was furious. He was insulted by this idiot. At this moment, Zichun retracted his power and took a few steps back. This time, it was slightly better than last time. Buzz. The black rock mountain trembled and began to rise into the sky. Zichun stretched out his hand, and the black rock mountain fell into his hand. Like before, it was only the size of a palm. Qi Yin stood up and stretched his body. The bones all over his body made cracking sounds. He glanced at Badu, then reached out to dig his ears. I'll chat with you later. Little ones, it's time to go home. All the monkeys on this floor were prostrating and kowtowing in the direction of Scarlet Ape. After hearing these words, their bodies immediately collapsed. The energy returned, and Qi Yan's aura began to strengthen. However, his body did not change, and his movements were not as strong as before. Badu watched from the side and muttered in his heart, I haven't recovered to my peak state. Could it really be that I can't beat him? Forget it. I'll not bother with this brainless guy. I'll bear with it for a while, and beat it to death when I recover. All the energy disappeared, and Qi Yin stretched his body again. I'm finally out. The feeling of freedom is really good. Shall we go to the 3rd level now? Zichun looked at Qi Yin. Qi Yin nodded, sure. He walked in front of Badu and reached out to touch his 7 heads one by one. Badu felt Qi Yan's aura and was even more suspicious of his opponent's strength. He did not dare to act rashly and let Qi Yin do as he pleased. You're so thoughtful, and your brain isn't bright. It's a miracle that you can live until now. Hearing Qi Yan's evaluation, Badu was so angry that he wanted to curse. The idiot that he had never looked up to actually said that he was not bright? However, he did not have the upper hand now, so he could only bear with it silently. At the same time, he reminded himself to bear with it first and kill it when his strength recovered. Chapter 48:30. It was obvious that Scarlet Ape was in a good mood. It even started humming along the way. The 8 heads followed behind, cursing the idiot in his heart. He has the ability to control you, so he must have other motives for letting you out. How can you be so proud of yourself? Have you never seen freedom before? Scarlet Ape suddenly turned around and stared at the 8 heads. The 8 heads stopped and looked at Scarlet Ape cautiously. What are you thinking about? Scarlet Ape suddenly asked. Nothing, nothing. The 8 heads quickly shook his head. Zichun walked in front. The biggest difference this time was that he had advanced to a holy venerable. Coming to this world as a holy venerable naturally gave him a boost, so he quickly sensed the entrance to the 3rd level. He still needed an external force to break it open. Zichun took out the flowing blade. The murderous aura spread, and the 8 heads screamed behind him, Flowing blade. Scarlet Ape glanced at him, as if saying, What's the fuss about? The 8 heads had seen the other kings holding weapons and tried to save him. He guessed that it might be Gu Shan's weapon, but those weapons were obviously different from the flowing blade in front of him. This was the weapon that Gu Shan had used before, and it was stained with blood. It was too famous. Buzz. The flowing blade trembled and slashed forward. The blade broke open the entrance to the 3rd level, and Zichun walked in. Scarlet Ape followed, and the 8 heads hesitated for a moment before following him. This time, Zichun did not see Meow Meow waiting outside the city. He saw a building, the same building as last time. How could this be? The 8 heads went forward and looked around, extremely puzzled. Scarlet Ape did not speak. This place was obviously different from the 1st and 2nd levels. There was no formation to break down the power. Rather than being trapped here, it was more like being in seclusion here. Zichun walked to the door and knocked lightly. Please come in. Meow Meow's gentle voice came from the room, and the door opened automatically. Zichun looked at the 2 existences behind him, shook his head at them, and walked in himself. This guy is really bold. He dares to go in alone. Does he want to die? The 8 heads muttered. Scarlet Ape could not be bothered with this brainless guy. When Zichun entered the room, Meow Meow walked out from the inner room. Oh, it's young master. Please take a seat. Meow Meow immediately poured a cup of tea for Zichun and placed it on the table with both hands. Seeing Meow Meow's enthusiasm, Zichun was somewhat unaccustomed to it. The other party looked harmless, but in reality, he was a truly terrifying existence. He didn't feel it the last time, but this time, he felt something different. Meow Meow was free here, and there was nothing he could break. In other words, Meow Meow possessed the strength and ability of her prime. We haven't seen each other for a long time. Are you tired of Meow Meow? Meow Meow's eyes were filled with tears. Her expression was bitter and pitiful. Zichun felt like he was a heartless man who had abandoned her. He shook his head and dispelled the distracting thoughts in his heart. He smiled bitterly and said, Meow Meow, stop joking with me. I'm in trouble this time. Meow Meow looked at Zichun and said sadly, after being together for so many years, young master has helped Meow Meow in every way, but you still don't treat Meow Meow as one of your own. What do you mean, young master? You only said that you're in trouble, but you didn't say that there's trouble in the spiritual realm. You think that Meow Meow is a ruthless person, right? The mist filled the air and sparkled. Tears that were like pearls seemed like they could fall at any time. This time, it's really my trouble. At the very least, I came here to solve my problem first. Back then, the 5 spirits demon sealing seal has been broken, and the demon race has entered the spiritual realm. Because I killed some of the advanced party of the wolf race previously, they came to find trouble. Now, I only have 5 days at most to come out and find reinforcements. Of course, it's not just about the grudge from back then. They also want the wandering saber and want to take it away. Meow Meow kept looking at Zichun. Her gaze did not change. Zichun took a sip of tea, and Meow Meow's gaze softened. Given young master's current realm, you should be able to go up 2 more levels. In other words, you can bring 2 more people back at most. Meow Meow sat next to Zichun. Can this help young master resolve the crisis? It should be possible, but I've never seen those 2. Meow Meow, do you have a way to deal with them? A fragrance entered his nose, but Zichun was indifferent. Meow Meow has some friendship with them. I'll go with young master. Then I'll have to trouble you. Zichun immediately stood up and cupped his fists. Young master, why are you being so courteous with me? Meow Meow's gaze became resentful again. Zichun could not bear such a gaze that was difficult to distinguish between real and fake. After thanking her, he walked out of the room. Seeing that Zichun was unharmed, the Basho muttered a few words softly. Zichun tried to sense the entrance to the 4th level, but he did not succeed. The building in front of him disappeared, and Meow Meow's figure appeared. Young master, please follow me. Meow Meow bowed to Zichun, then looked at Qi Yin and the Basho. Come with me. That's strange. This little girl is so polite to Zichun. The Basho's 14 eyeballs were all turning. It encountered something that it did not understand. Qi Yin deliberately kept a distance from the idiot. It was not afraid of Meow Meow, but it did not want to confront her. Meow Meow heard the Basho's mutterings, and her figure paused. For some reason, she did not turn around to settle the score. Meow Meow waved her hand, and a spatial door opened. Seeing this, Qi Yan's expression changed. You can actually open this place? So, Gu Shan did not imprison you? If you want to leave, you can leave at any time? The Basho was shocked to see Meow Meow's move. Meow Meow still ignored the Basho, but looked at Zichun. Young master, please. Zichun nodded and walked forward. If they continued to be polite, it would take a lot of time. Gu Shan is so good to you. The Basho muttered again. Could it be that between you and Gu Shan, Zichun walked into the passage? Before the Basho could finish, Meow Meow turned around and glanced at it. There was a light in her eyes. Qi Yin could not stand it anymore and punched out. With a bang, the Basho flew away. The Basho fell to the ground and cried out. Meow Meow glanced at Qi Yin, and there was an indescribable emotion in her eyes. I didn't expect your personality to change so much after so many years. I don't know what's going on outside. We are in the same boat, so we can take care of each other. Qi Yin said, It's indeed wrong to speak without thinking. Just teach it a lesson. There's no need to kill it. Meow Meow turned around and walked into the 4th floor. Qian looked back at the Ba Shou and said angrily, "You idiot, do you want to die? After being sealed for so many years, don't you know how much strength you have left?" The Ba Shou also knew that it was in the wrong, and slowly walked over. "I just said it casually. Don't you find it strange that Gu Shan treats her like this?" Chapter 48:31. 8 Heads was still muttering, but this time it kept it in its heart. Just a moment ago, its mind was in a trance. Then, it was punched by Scarlet Ape. Scarlet Ape followed, and 8 Heads followed, shaking their heads. Their minds were still in a daze. Zichen walked into the 4th floor and found that the situation here was the same as the 1st and 2nd floors. The area was huge and filled with demon beasts. Of course, it could also be said that they were demons. This was a strange creature. It looked a bit similar to the flying divine tiger, but its appearance was even more sinister, and its face was ferocious. When these creatures saw Zichen and the others, the wings on their backs gradually stood up. Their eyes gradually had a cruel look, as if they could attack at any time. Oomph! Meow Meow saw all of this and snorted unhappily. She didn't do anything, but the eyes of those creatures that were full of hostility returned to normal. Continuing forward, all the creatures acted as if they didn't see them. Zichen released his soul remembrance early and sensed the location of the Black Stone Mountain. Under the mountain, there was a smaller creature. It was in a deep sleep and seemed to be sleeping soundly. Perhaps it was due to the seal, but when everyone approached, the other party didn't wake up until Meow Meow shouted, "Qiongqi." Qiongqi woke up from its sleep and opened its eyes. After seeing them, it was very surprised, and its gaze finally fixed on Zichen. Zichen cupped his fists and said, "I'm Zichen, here to take Senior away." Qiongqi's eyes had a hint of mockery. "Never heard of it, I don't know it. I'm fine here, you guys can leave." Meow Meow said unhappily, "Qiongqi, watch your attitude. Be more respectful to my young master. Young master calls you senior because young master understands etiquette, not because there is something that young master respects." Young master? Qiongqi looked at Meow Meow with a strange gaze. The 8 heads behind it almost had the same expression. Only Scarlet Ape was indifferent, as if it had lost its hearing. "Just one sentence, are you going or not?" Meow Meow said impatiently, "My young master doesn't have so much time. Let's go. But what will you say when we get out?" Qiongqi looked at Zichen and said, "Tell me, what do I have to give and what do I get in return?" Ba Shou looked at Zichen. This was something he wanted to ask but didn't have the time to ask. Zichen already had a plan for this when he came. He said, "After leaving this place, you will restrain the other demons and protect this part of the world." Other than that, he had no other requests. If you have people, you can naturally find a suitable place to develop in the spirit realm. In the end, we need to stabilize the current situation, stop the slaughter, and give the astrals some time to grow. Do you think your words count? Qiongqi looked at Zichen in disbelief. "Forget it," Zichen said with certainty. Now that they were without a leader, the spirit world was already in a terrible situation. If this continued, perhaps half of the people in the spirit world would be gone. All right. Qiongqi nodded and agreed. Zichen walked up to the Black Rock Mountain and began to channel his power into the Black Rock Mountain. This time, the loss of energy was even less. With the 3 of them at the side, Zichen directly put away the Black Rock Mountain after refining it. He did not have to worry about Qiongqi suddenly changing its mind. Qiongqi began to devour the surrounding energy, and its body began to expand, just like Ba Shou earlier. It was obviously showing off its abilities to Zichen. Ba Shou muttered something in its heart, and Qian was a little distracted. Zichen looked at Qiongqi above and felt the surging power. He yearned for it. He thought that becoming a sacred venerable was already very impressive, but it was still not enough in front of a demon. Meow Meow, on the other hand, was looking at Zichen as if she wanted to absorb him into her long and narrow eyes. After all the energy was devoured, the tall Qiongqi lowered its head and looked at them. Then, its body gradually shrank. Zichen nodded at Meow Meow, and Meow Meow led everyone to the 5th floor. "Qiongqi, you don't seem to have lost much power." Ba Shou whispered beside Xiongqi. Xiongqi glanced at Ba Shou and smirked in disdain. Ba Shou stared at it. Xiongqi, what's with that expression? I didn't expect an idiot like you to be here. Was Gu Shan blind back then? Xiongqi's words were full of mockery and disdain. Xiongqi, do you want to die? Ba Shou was completely furious. Idiots, you're the idiots. All this while, the eight-headed beast had never been proud of its own combat strength. It was proud of its own intelligence, and in its eyes, Qi Yin and Xiongqi were both brainless. Whenever something happened, they would lower their heads and charge forward without thinking. Therefore, even if its combat strength was slightly inferior, it was still proud. However, what happened today made it feel extremely humiliated. First, the idiot Qi Yin looked down on it, and now, even Xiongqi called it an idiot. You're just a bird, a dog, and a tiger. What right do you have to judge me? Xiongqi said, Why, you're not convinced? Tell me, how many heads do you want to keep? Ba Shou was immediately discouraged. It even began to doubt itself. Did Gu Shan really put me in the first level after careful consideration? At that moment, Miao Miao opened the entrance to the 5th level. This made Ba Shou even more depressed because Miao Miao looked more like the owner of this place. It was even more confused. What was that idiot Gu Shan thinking back then? Did Xiongqi kick his head? After entering the 5th floor, everyone felt waves of coldness. The others were all demons, so they did not feel anything. However, Zichen, a holy venerable, was extremely sensitive. The surroundings were cold and gloomy. Feeling such an environment, Ba Shou's eyes changed again. It's so cold. What kind of existence is imprisoned here? Xiongqi was also confused. Obviously, it did not know the situation above. Qi Yin suddenly said, Could it be him? Xiongqi and Ba Shou seemed to have guessed who was imprisoned here. Their expressions changed. Miao Miao seemed to have known, so she did not have much of an expression. Zichen was curious. What kind of existence could make the 3 demons change their expressions? At that moment, Zichen suddenly heard a high-pitched cry. He looked up at the sky and saw a large eagle. It had no feathers, no flesh, and only a skeleton. It was a bone eagle. Human, you don't belong here. The bone eagle spoke in human language. Hearing what it said, Zichen felt as if he was in a strange environment. He was surrounded by demons, and he was the only one who did not fit in. This situation was somewhat similar to when he was fighting with Miao Miao, but it was obviously different. Zichen felt a strong sense of loneliness. Human, this place does not belong to you. The bone eagle spoke again. The lonely Zichen felt ripples in his heart, and he wanted to retreat. The bone eagle in the sky had another name. Chapter 48:32. After seeing the bone eagle, Ba Shou began to be on guard. At the same time, he secretly complained in his heart. How did he meet this guy? He was also a difficult person to deal with. Qi Yin and Xiongqi's expressions also changed slightly. During this time, Xiongqi glanced at Zichen and saw that his eyes were blank. Obviously, after being hit, a trace of mockery flashed in his eyes. At the same level as the bone eagle, he was also on guard, let alone a mere saint venerable who was unprepared. At this moment, Miao Miao said, Bone eagle. The voice entered Zichen's mind. The blankness in Zichen's eyes dissipated, and he looked at the big thing in the sky with lingering fear. Young master, it's called the bone eagle. Although it's just a skeleton, it has the means to bewitch people. Miao Miao reminded. Young master? Miao Miao, don't you think it's degrading your status to call this weak human young master? In the sky, the bone eagle stared at Miao Miao. Miao Miao looked at the bone eagle. I'm willing. How can you see young master's powerful means? Of course we can't see it. Only you can feel it. The bone eagle smiled. Hearing the implication, Miao Miao's beautiful eyes flashed coldly. You want to die? I've been locked up here for many years, and no one has ever come. Since you've appeared today, I can guess what happened. The bone eagle looked at Zichen and changed the topic. If the person chosen by Gu Shan is him, I naturally don't like him. Moreover, I guess I'm your last target. Miao Miao did not speak. You're silent, which means you agree. The bone eagle said indifferently, "It's very simple. If you want me to leave here and go outside to help you, then go up and bring that guy out. Otherwise, there's nothing to talk about. Then you can wait for death here." Meow Meow turned back and said, "Young master, we can go now?" "What's up there?" Zichen asked. Previously, Meow Meow only let him go up to here, and the bone eagle also guessed that this was the only way. Meow Meow shook her head. It's not that she didn't know, but that she didn't want to say. "You don't even dare to try. Meow Meow, your eyesight is not ordinary." The bone eagle smiled. "Following such a guy, I'm really worried about your future." Zichun knew that this was a provocation, but his mood still fluctuated. "Young master, your time is limited. Don't be fooled." Meow Meow reminded him again. Zichun nodded. He only had 5 days. Zichun wasn't sure what the demon race would do, so he couldn't be impulsive and ruin everyone's lives. Zichun turned around and left with Meow Meow. "You won't die if you try. Since Gushan chose it, there should be something special about it." The bone eagle continued, "What if it succeeds?" "I think we can give it a try," Basho suddenly said. Scarlet Ape did not speak. He seemed to be thinking about something. "It's fine to give it a try," Cheongchi said as if he was watching a show. After all, he was free now. Meow Meow continued to walk forward. Zichen observed the changes in their expressions and said, "If there is a slight possibility, we can give it a try." Meow Meow turned around and looked at Zichun. "Young master, do you really want to try? For Gushan's sake, he won't die. So what's the point of trying? Let's not talk about whether he can succeed or not. At the very least, he should have the courage, right?" The bone eagle continued, "If he is prepared, he should be able to survive." Zichen thought for a moment and said, "So, you calculate the time. If I don't come out in 2 hours, think of a way to get me out." "Young master, are you serious?" Meow Meow looked into Zichen's eyes. "If I can really succeed, I'll have 2 assistants. It's worth a try." Zichun had made up his mind. "Give me 2 hours." "Good. Young master, you must be careful." Meow Meow waved her hand, and the passage to the 6th floor appeared in front of them. Zichun walked straight in. 2 hours? Haha, that's enough for him to die 80 times. The bone eagle sneered. "Meow Meow, you keep calling him young master. It seems that you don't care much about him." Meow Meow glanced at the bone eagle and didn't say anything. The bone eagle continued, "You know that there is no danger. I was just joking, but you really let him go in. With just 1 sentence, I can see that everyone in your temporary team is disloyal. Basho is brainless. He wants the person Gu Shan chose to die on the spot. As for Cheong Chi, he also has his own thoughts, but he's more of a spectator. As for you, Meow Meow, you want to take people's lives. You're the most insidious." Listening to the bone eagle's words, Meow Meow's face was still calm, and her emotions didn't fluctuate. Basho was so angry. He felt that his intelligence had been insulted since he got out of this place. Since Chi Yan's expression didn't change, the bone eagle didn't comment. However, Chi Yan looked at the other as if it was looking at an idiot. After staying here for so many years, some had changed their temperament, some still had their nature, and some had become crazy. "Chi Yan, what do you mean by that look?" The bone eagle noticed this scene. "I think you're smart," Chi Yan said indifferently. "Of course." The bone eagle was proud. When he met the bone eagle, Zichun was careless. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been hit so easily. Now that he was on the 6th floor, he was much more careful. Not all existences were in a suppressed state, so he still had to be careful. With the flowing broken blade in hand, Zichun released his soul remembrance and probed vigilantly. The area here was very large, but within the range of his soul remembrance, he couldn't see anything. It was empty. Is it hiding? Zichun gradually increased his speed. After all, he only had 2 hours. As he kept moving forward, Zichun's mind was in a tense state, but he still couldn't sense anything. At this moment, Zichun noticed something floating in the air. He released his soul remembrance and found that it was a cloak. A wind appeared, causing the cloak to dance in the air. The cloak was the color of blood and looked particularly coquettish. The wind stopped, and the cloak fell. It was unknown if it was a coincidence, but it just happened to fly in Zichun's direction. During this period, Zichen's soul power probed again and again, but he didn't sense anything unusual from the cloak. He stood there quietly and watched the cloak fall. Just as it was about to land, another light wind appeared, causing the cloak to fly into the distance. This was a small interlude. Zichen continued forward. Although it was strange for a cloak to appear here, it wasn't Zichen's real goal. Previously, through his aura perception, Zichen didn't sense any spirit energy fluctuations from it. It wasn't a threat to him. Time passed, and Zichen still found nothing. There was no danger, but he didn't even see the owner. He was a little regretful, but he didn't let down his guard. As he continued to search, Zichen increased his speed several times, but in the end, he didn't find anything. 2 hours later, a passage appeared in front of Zichen. He walked out of the passage, looking a little regretful. Seeing Zichen successfully walk out of the 6th floor, their expressions changed and they were a little surprised. In the next moment, their eyes changed, and they stared at Zichen. Chapter 48:33. What's wrong? Noticing everyone's strange expressions, Zichen was slightly startled. Soon, Zichen noticed that something was wrong. The moment he turned his head, he caught a glimpse of a red light behind him. Is it that cloak? Zichen reacted. After all, after entering the 6th floor, he only saw that thing. The cloak was behind him, even draped over his back, but he didn't notice it at all. Just as Zichen kept turning around and chasing after the cloak, the demons widened their eyes so much that their eyeballs almost popped out of their sockets. Especially the bone eagle. It originally wanted to see a joke, but it didn't expect to see this scene. This is impossible. The bone eagle stared at the cloak. Since when did you become so kind? Meow Meow chuckled and said, Young master, don't keep turning. Shueshang has no ill intentions towards you. Zichen stopped when he heard this, but he still found it hard to believe. Could this be the demon suppressed on the 6th floor? The cloak left Zichen and floated in the air, bowing to Zichen. Shueshang greets the young master. Vaguely, Zichen seemed to see a beautiful woman standing in the air. He immediately cupped his fists and said, I'm Zichen. Greetings, Miss Shueshang. Shueshang. Meow Meow has gone crazy. Are you going crazy too? The bone eagle shouted in dissatisfaction. The cloak turned around and said, I have fate with the young master. Now, fate has arrived. The bone eagle wanted to spit. What bullshit fate? But after thinking about it, it decided to forget it. If they really fought, it wouldn't gain any advantage. Meow Meow looked at the bone eagle. What do you say? I, the bone eagle, will keep my word. After we go out, your young master will have the final say. The bone eagle spoke righteously, but soon it muttered, Crazy. They're all crazy. I'm the only one normal. Zichen stretched out his hand and waved in the air. A hidden giant peak appeared. It was the Black Giant Peak. The 6th floor didn't have it, but this floor did. In total, Zichen already had 4 giant peaks around him. Unlike the other 3, this giant peak did not require any additional refinement. Meow Meow did not mention what was on the 7th floor. Furthermore, the others present did not mention it either. It was as if he had deliberately ignored it. It was time to leave. Meow Meow opened the space, and the group of people walked out, arriving outside the confining pagoda. Meow Meow said, Once we leave, the rules of this world will become even more unstable. Should we inform them in advance? Zichen saw a space where there were 4 colossal figures. One of them was Meiji, whom Zichen was familiar with. However, the current Meiji was in her true form. Let's go and meet him. Zichen walked into the space. Basho and the others raised their heads to look at him, but soon, the image in the space disappeared. Towards the sudden appearance of Zichen, Meiji was very surprised. Her giant body instantly returned to its original size. The other 4 beasts also changed their sizes when they were with him. Why are you here? Meiji asked curiously. She did not sense anyone coming in. The other 3 beasts were the same. They had all seen Zichen before, but unfortunately, Zichen had never seen them. The seal of the spiritual realm has disappeared, and the demon race has entered. I'm here to look for reinforcements. Zichen explained the purpose of his visit and what had happened. After the 4 beasts heard this, They nodded as if relieved of a heavy burden. Earlier, we were still discussing why the rules of the world were unstable, and were thinking of some emergency plans. So this is the reason. Meiji said, in that case, we can rest assured. It's fate that we can't guard this place. It's not that we didn't do our duty. Zichen asked how long they could hold on. They were told that the longest was a year, but it was hard to say if it was short. Zichen said that he would try his best to prolong the time. He would return to the Saint Spirit realm to stabilize the situation. After stabilizing the invading demon race, these people would be relatively controllable when they descended. After saying this, Zichen said goodbye and left. 3 days had passed, but Zichen still had not returned. The demon race and demon race were still not in a hurry. In their senses, Zichen's world was still full of vitality. This meant that the people in this world had not left. Lang Feng was anxious. Actually, he did not want to give Zichen any time, but a Saint Venerable had no right to speak here. Elder, it's already been 3 days. Could Zichen have really run away? He was a bit worried. Lang Emo calmly said, let's wait 2 more days and we'll know. A mere 5 days of waiting was nothing to these demons, not to mention that they had already waited for 3 days. The others were the same. After all, it wasn't just a single demon that came. Even if they had taken over the territory, there were still other demons. If they could obtain the weapon that Gu Shan had forged back then, their battle prowess would instantly rise, and they might even become a peak existence. While waiting, 2 days quickly passed, but for Lang Feng, it was a bit long. When the time was up, he immediately said, Elder, it's time. Zichen hasn't returned yet. He must have run away. Bao Yu said, whether he's delayed or escaped, since he hasn't returned at the agreed time, we need to teach him a lesson. Let's destroy half of this world first. With that, Bao Yu stepped forward. Lang Feng was delighted. Suddenly, an aura belonging to a demon came from Zichen's world. This aura was abnormally cold, like ice that would not melt. Oh, interesting. How long has it been? And a demon has appeared. Bao Yu's eyes were even colder. Then we can't let him live. He looked back at Lang Emo and said, let's end this quickly before that kid comes back. They were actually going to join forces. Okay. Lang Emo did not hesitate, and the two flew forward. But at this moment, a second demonic aura emerged. Someone had broken through again. They were stunned again, and this time, their expressions became serious. In the past, because of the existence of restrictions, the Ling clan could not touch the threshold of becoming a demon. But with the unsealing of the world, those who had reached the bottleneck might be promoted one after another. This was not good news for the Yao clan. Let's not wait any longer. Destroy his world first. When Zichen returns, we'll kill him and take his weapon. At this moment, they felt threatened, and they had to kill the uncertainty of the future in advance. Several great demons moved forward at the same time, surging with killing intent. In Zichen's world, everyone felt as if they had fallen into an ice cellar, and their bodies trembled. Tree branches flew over from the void, surrounded by lightning, isolating the murderous aura. It was the Tree of Lightning of the Holy Thunder Clan. This existence, which had chosen to be a bystander in Zichen's matter for many years, took the initiative to protect Tianwu world this time. Feeling the aura from the Tree of Lightning, the faces of these demons immediately turned ugly. Attack. They no longer hesitated and began to attack. Chapter 48-34. The branches of the Thunder Tree extended from the Holy Thunder Clan, forming a real defense, protecting the Tianwu world. This was the first time the Thunder Tree took the initiative to help Zichen after the Holy Thunder Clan gave up on Zichen many years ago. The protection formed by the branches was very strong, and the flashing lightning was almost equivalent to the strongest defense in the world. Seeing this, the demons began to attack together. The powerful energy vibrations caused the void to distort. They felt the pressure from the Spirit Clan. In this invasion, the only advantage of the Demon Clan was the demons. But once the Spirit Clan had many demons, it would be impossible to completely control the Spirit Realm. The movement outside was very big. Everyone in the Tianwu world knew what was happening, but Zichen was not here, so they could only watch. They were not even qualified to help. The first demon aura belonged to Frost Girl. She had truly crossed that step and become a demon. The second aura was of unknown origin. No one knew where it came from. They only knew that it came from Zichen's residence. But it did not appear. Frost Girl looked at the sky. She could not help in this battle. Because there was no way to communicate with the Thunder Tree, rushing out now would only affect the Thunder Tree's defense. Under the cooperation of the demons, the light of the Thunder Tree was dimming. In the Tianwu world, everyone watched silently. At this moment, they wanted to resist, but they were powerless. At the level of the demons, unity was not enough to fight against them. Right now, they could only hope that the Thunder Tree could hold on for a while longer. We have to end this quickly, so as to avoid more trouble. Lang Mo's eyes flashed with coldness when he saw this. He instantly revealed his true form as demonic qi gushed forth, attacking with a single strike. There was a loud bang. The entire Tianwu world was shaking, and more than 10 branches of the Thunder Tree were broken. After revealing their true forms, the combat power of the demon clan became stronger. If they continued to attack like this, the Thunder Tree's defense would probably disappear. Seeing this, the other demon clan members revealed their true forms one after another, wanting to end the battle quickly. At this moment, the leaves on the branches of the Thunder Tree fell off one by one. The falling leaves turned into numerous attacks and attacked the approaching behemoth. In an instant, countless bolts of lightning flooded the surroundings, enveloping all of the huge demon tribe. The void trembled as if it had the power to destroy the world. The demons rushed out of the lightning. They were very shocked. They were so far away from the Holy Thunder Clan, but the Thunder Tree had such means. What if it was closer? Although they were shocked, they were also glad. This indirect confrontation had allowed them to know the strength of the Holy Thunder Clan. They would have to be more careful if they wanted to devour the other party. In the Tianwu world, everyone was still nervous. If Zichun couldn't make it back in time, then Lei Shu, who was a temporary support, would eventually be defeated. At this moment, a light shone from the city. The space was forcefully torn apart, and Zichun walked out. As soon as he walked out of the space, he released his soul remembrance. Seeing that the world was still intact, he exclaimed inwardly, "That was close." Looking at the sky, the Thunder Tree was still resisting, but it wouldn't be able to hold on for much longer. After thanking the Lord of the Thunder Clan, Zichun flew out of the world. The Thunder Tree withdrew all of its branches, which stunned the demons. They didn't know why. "Guys, you guys are too impatient." Zichen's voice sounded as he walked out of the world. After seeing Zichun, the eyes of these demons lit up. Langamo asked, "You brought the thing?" Zichen shook his head regretfully. "I'm sorry, but it didn't work." Killing intent flashed in Lang Mo's eyes. "You dared to trick us. So, you came back to die?" Zichen said again, "It's not that I didn't get anything. After arriving there, I found something else." "What?" Bao Yu immediately asked. "Guys, please take a look." As Zichen's voice fell, several existences sensed the energy fluctuation behind them and immediately turned around. Behind Lang Mo stood a black-robed youth. Behind Bao Yu stood a yellow-robed man. Behind Demon Tiger stood Miao Miao, who stood silently. As for the other demon, there was a human-shaped skeleton standing behind him. Other than that, there was a blood-red cloak fluttering in the distance. "So, you want to get reinforcements? No wonder you're so confident." Lang Mo looked at the youth in front of him and sneered. "Although I don't know where you found this weirdo, not everyone is qualified to be my demon's opponent." Lang Mo immediately stepped forward and threw a punch at the youth's face. "Don't hit people in the face. You don't pay attention." After hearing the youth say that, a muffled sound rang out and Lang Mo was sent flying. The other demons who didn't make a move had a change in expression. When they looked at the youth again, they were much more serious. Mo Lang roared and his massive body appeared. But his cheeks were already covered in blood. He stared at the youth and said coldly, "I'm going to eat you." The black-robed youth smiled. "I've been waiting for you to say that. Die." Lang Mo pounced forward like a wolf hunting for prey, opening his mouth to bite the youth. The youth stretched out his hand, and a light lit up. Crack! Lang Mo felt a huge force blocking him. It was like biting a lump of iron, unable to move an inch. The expressions of the other beasts changed drastically. Because at this moment, the young man was just standing there, one foot on Lang Mo's lower jaw, and one hand on his upper jaw, preventing Lang Mo from biting. How is this possible? An unremarkable youth had such a method. Then what about the others in front of them? At this moment, they couldn't help but guess that this might be Gu Shan's method. It might even be a backup plan left behind by Gu Shan in the spirit world. Thinking of this possibility, they looked at each other and didn't hesitate to show their huge, true body. It seemed that only with the physique of a demon could they feel a little more at ease. Meow Meow and the others quietly watched them transform and didn't stop them. Lang Mo shook his head, trying to get rid of the youth, but he didn't succeed after many attempts. Finally, a huge force exploded and Lang Mo was sent flying again. More than half of his teeth fell out. The youth leisurely glanced at Zichun. Seeing Zichin's shocked expression, he enjoyed it very much. So he said arrogantly, "Against you. I'm bullying you. It's an unfair win." Before the youth finished speaking, Lang Mo in front of him erupted again. An even more violent aura surged out. At the same time, a huge wolf shadow appeared behind him. It was like a manifested soul, looking down at the youth indifferently. The young man was enraged. "You damned brat, can't you listen to what I have to say? Do you know that it's very rude to interrupt others? You dare to use supernatural powers? Are you disgusting your ancestor?" The angry youth showed his true body. Chapter 48:35. The Yao had an extremely vigorous life force. Even a sacred sage would find it difficult to kill them, let alone a demon. Unless one had a technique comparable to the 5 spirits, one could easily deal with a demon. However, after 8 heads attacked with his true body, he did not consider whether Lang Mo's life force was strong or not. After the 7 heads separated Lang Mo's body, he directly swallowed it. He ate Lang Mo. Under such circumstances, how could Lang Mo be revived? The other Yao and demons who had revealed their true bodies were completely shocked. A thick sense of horror appeared in their eyes. They did not hesitate to run away. It was too easy. Lang Mo died too easily. As for Lang Mo, he had already run away when he saw that the situation was not good. Lang Mo could run, but could the other demons? Scarlet Ape, who was standing in front of Leopard Yu, was wearing a yellow robe. With just one punch, blood flew everywhere. Leopard Yu's huge body was smashed into the distance. The demon tiger stood in front of Meow Meow, motionless, as if he had lost his mind. Meow Meow also looked at the demon tiger, standing there without moving. As for the bone eagle, it went forward and hammered. Although the Yao could not resist, it was still worrying if its bones would be shattered. The cloak fluttered in the air as if it was giggling. It was the perfect audience. After eating Lang Mo, 8 heads was not satisfied. This was a rare opportunity for him to stand out, so he rushed toward Leopard Yu. Scarlet Ape did not stop him and allowed 8 heads to eat Leopard Yu in the same way. Zichin's expression changed when he saw this scene. These existences were indeed stronger than the demons. It seemed that Gu Shan had expected this scene, so he suppressed 8 heads and other existences in advance. If it were just a few ordinary demons, they would not be able to deal with them. Then, 8 heads ate the other 2 demons one after another. The demon tiger was the most oppressed. He had just broken free from Meow Meow's illusion when he encountered the 7 heads. They seemed to have been waiting for a long time. In the next moment, the demon tiger was helpless. The trouble in Tianwu world was solved just like that. Frost Maiden, who followed them out, was also shocked. She did not recognize 8 heads and Scarlet Ape, but she guessed their identities from their auras. Now that there was no more trouble here, it was time to deal with the Saint Spirit domain. Zichin glanced at the Bone Eagle and said, "Call all the demons over." The Bone Eagle glared at Zichin. "What? You want them to attack us? Or do you want us to fight all the demons?" "Think what you want, as long as they come over," Zichin said indifferently. The Bone Eagle glared at Zichin again, but didn't say anything. Instead, it turned its head to look into the distance and said something. "All demons, get over here." This voice was actually not very loud, but the moment it rang out in the sea of consciousness, It was as if a sudden clap of thunder had exploded, emitting a rumbling sound. This sentence was instantly transmitted to the minds of all the demons in the spiritual realm. The evil demons that had entered this world earlier had felt the violent and unfamiliar aura of the eight-headed demon. Now that they heard the voice of the bone condor, their expressions changed. Following that, the evil demons all headed in this direction. Most of them wanted to see what kind of existence this unfamiliar and powerful aura was. After these evil demons arrived, they only saw the eight-headed demon in his true form. As for the others, they all appeared in human form. Obviously, the seven-headed guy was not on the same side as them. Otherwise, it was impossible for them not to know that they were all evil demons. "I'll give you two paths or die." The seven heads of the eight-headed demon looked in seven directions. His attitude was so bad that the evil demons who came here did not look good. However, the eight-headed demon's words made them even more confused. Two paths or die. What about the second path? How could he say something halfway? One is a path of death, and the other is to live in peace. At this moment, Zichun spoke. He looked at the evil demons and said, "If you originally belonged to the spiritual realm and were only sealed by Gushan back then now that the seal has been broken, the spiritual realm recognizes your identity. This world is infinitely big. You can find your own territory to stay in. Don't go on a killing spree." Everyone looked at Zichun as if they were looking at a fool. Many of the evil demons here did not speak. Was it up to a mere sacred venerate to speak? Moreover, he was a sacred venerate of the spiritual race. To them, Zichun was food. Young master's intentions are also our intentions. At this moment, Miao Miao spoke. She looked at all the evil demons and evil demons. Young master's words are very clear. The spiritual realm is very big. You can stay here, but you are not allowed to kill indiscriminately. Miao Miao took a few steps forward. If you don't agree, then don't blame us for being rude. If you can't make the decision, you can go back and find someone who can. As for our identities, if your ancestors are still alive, they should know. My name is Miao Miao. He is the eight-headed demon, scarlet ape, and the bone eagle. Shueshang. If you can't understand the message, then tell your ancestors that you have been unsealed and we have returned. Perhaps we can settle the grudges from back then. When Miao Miao finished speaking, the evil demons' expressions changed. As evil demons, they were at the absolute peak of their race. Naturally, they knew some ancient secrets. When the evil demons started the war, it was not only with the spirit race but also with internal conflicts. It was said that the low-level evil demons in the evil demon realm were left behind by the defeated evil demons. The evil demons and evil demons looked at each other. Although there were only 5 of them, they were all ancient existences. They did not act rashly. It seems that you can't make the decision. Then let's go directly to the evil demon realm, the eight-headed demon said. I haven't gone back in a long time. I wonder how my clansmen are doing. The evil demons and evil demons' expressions changed. They did not say anything and left one by one. They were so fast that they seemed to be fleeing. It seems that things are not going well. We really have to go back, Miao Miao said. Let's see how the evil demons are doing now. Zichun was a little worried. Although Miao Miao and the others were evil demons, they were not on good terms with the evil demons. Going directly to that place was equivalent to going to the evil demon's home ground. Who knew what would happen? Hee, little lord, you don't have to worry about us. The eight-headed demon sensed the worry in Zichun's eyes and smiled. Because little lord will be going with us. Zichun was slightly startled. He had to go too? It's very appropriate for you to go. If those old guys are still alive, they should be very vigilant and will not come for the time being. So if you want peace, you have to go and negotiate. Chapter 48:36. Currently, the Saint Spirit Realm was fighting for itself, and the various sacred clans could barely protect their own territories. As for the rest, they could not care less. Therefore, they were not qualified to negotiate with the demon race. In the end, they might not even be able to protect their own forces. Zichun was different. He had Miao Miao and the others by his side. With the powerful combat strength left behind by Gushan, he was qualified to negotiate with the demon race. As for driving the demon race out, Zichen had never thought of it. Gushan probably did not think of it back then either. After all, as the number one person, if he wanted to kill these demon race back then, he believed that he could do it. Zichen did not refuse, and he could not refuse. In the entire spiritual realm, only he could represent the spirit race to negotiate with the demon race. Zichen thought for a moment and said, "We can go to the demon race, but before that, we have to intimidate the demon race here. Otherwise, who knows what the spiritual realm will be like?" These demons had too big of an appetite. They could devour a world with countless living beings. If they did not intimidate them, perhaps not even half of the Saint Spirit realm would be left when they returned. "That's easy. Leave it to me." The boss show volunteered because it had not recovered to its peak state. Right now, it could use those demons to recover. In any case, if someone used this as an excuse, Zichun would be there to deal with it. The boss show left and followed Zichun's instructions to intimidate those demons. The others returned to Zichun's world. This time, they had time to take a closer look. Meow Meow was very satisfied with this world filled with vegetation. Zichen brought them to the hall, where someone had already prepared tea and snacks. "Young Master's world is indeed extraordinary." Meow Meow smiled and said, "I'll live here from now on." The bone eagle glanced at Meow Meow, but did not say anything. Chi Yin, who was wearing a yellow robe, nodded. He agreed with Meow Meow's words. This world was not something an ordinary world could compare to. Even the demons could not devour it. Not only was the spiritual power extremely strong, but it was also because the foundation of this world was stable. Zichen gestured for them to sit here for a while before leaving the palace to find Han Nu. He first congratulated her on her breakthrough before asking her about what had happened during this period of time. After that, Zichun found the Monster King and praised him for what he had done. Then, he said, "Come with me to the monster realm." These words gave the Monster Purgatory King a fright. He quickly shook his head and said no. What kind of joke was this? If it went to the Yao clan with its current status, it would only be sending itself to its death. "My lord, don't be fooled by them. They want to harm you, not help you. When you go to the demon realm, you won't be able to come back." The monster refiner swore, "Sir, trust me one more time. You must not go." "I've made up my mind." Zichen smiled. "If that's the case, then this lowly one wishes for you to be victorious and create eternal peace for the spiritual realm. This lowly one will wait here for your triumphant return." The Monster Refiner King immediately said, "Don't worry, my lord. This lowly one will definitely abstain from meat all day long and pray for you." Zichen picked up the Monster Refiner King. "I'm not here to ask for your opinion. I'm here to inform you, and then take you with me." Zichun put away the Monster Refiner King and returned to the palace. The atmosphere in the palace was not lively. These existences that had been imprisoned for many years were still very silent. At this moment, the 8 heads were chasing after the demons and devouring them. After devouring 2 powerful demons in a row, the other demons began to flee. During this period of time, they formed a large scale and carried out an encirclement against the 8 heads. The huge commotion caused many worlds to shatter. However, the 8 heads only chased after one demon until it was torn apart and devoured. Although its body was covered in wounds, the other demons did not want to be the second to be devoured, so they all scattered. The 8 heads roared at the scattered demons and threatened them. In just half a day, the 8 heads returned unsatisfied. Its mission of intimidating the demons could be considered to have been completed. Next, the group headed straight for the monster realm. The entrance to the monster realm was the huge gap torn open by the demons last time. The group arrived at the gap. The 8 heads were still releasing a powerful aura. When the nearby demons saw this scene, they all fled. "Young master, let's go." Boundless monster Chi descended from above. Meow Meow reached out and grabbed Zichen's wrist. Her body soared into the sky and entered the gap. Scarlet Ape and the others followed closely behind. After entering the monster realm, Zichun saw a desolate land. The ground seemed to have gone through many battles. There were broken mountain ranges, dried bloodstains, and broken rivers. As far as the eye could see, there were traces of battle everywhere. Every race is the same. They all have internal conflicts. The monster realm is no exception. The group continued forward. Everywhere they passed, Zichun saw the most was a messy battlefield. Unlike the spirit realm, the monster realm was larger, so the traces of battle were more obvious. Moreover, this was the same as the demon realm. It was only a main world, unlike other places. However, this world was more stable. It was the most stable world Zichun had ever experienced. Otherwise, when the demons here fought, they would shatter space and enter other worlds. Although it's still that world, the changes are too great. Scarlet Ape sighed. The group moved forward in the sky above the battlefield. During this time, they saw many demons. As for Meow Meow and the others, as demons, they could see further than Zichun. Our clansmen were indeed suppressed, but it shouldn't be to this extent. Meow Meow suddenly said, "Did we miss something?" She found some small demons of the Fox clan, but their realms were very low. Soon, Scarlet Ape and Ba Shou realized the same problem. Ba Shou was immediately enraged. "D****, are you trying to wipe out my entire clan?" 8 Heads looked around. "Old things, I'll make you pay with your lives." 8 Heads, where's your brain? If we really wanted to destroy your clan, would you see such a scene? An old voice suddenly sounded. An old man with a long beard appeared out of thin air. "You're Old Black. You're still alive?" 8 Heads was surprised to see the old man. "If you're not dead, why can't I be?" The old man's gaze swept across them. "Besides, you're all still alive. What happened to our clansmen?" Scarlet Ape looked at the old man. The old man said, "When Gu Shan sealed us, he also sealed your clansmen. However, the two sides are not in the same world. These are just the weak existences that Gu Shan did not take away." Scarlet Ape was surprised. "You're so easy to talk to. This isn't your style. It's been so long. How many of those old fellows are still alive? Let the grudges of the past be in the past. Now, our goal is actually the same. That is to completely unify the spirit realm and let the monster realm reign supreme." Chapter 48:37. There's no conflict between us now. I only want this kid. The old man had obviously learned of Zichun's identity from the others and directly asked for Zichun. "Old Black, when did you learn to dream?" Ba Shou looked at the old man. "Have you been sleeping all these years? No wonder you've aged so quickly. I know it's inconvenient for you, so I've thought of a solution before coming." The old man wasn't angry. "It's a solution that solves everything once and for all. How about it? Think about it. Based on the current situation of the spiritual realm, it'll be easy for us to rule it. After taking over the spiritual realm, we'll work together to destroy the major forces and then control all the spiritual clans. First, we'll encircle the ancient sacred venerables to prevent demons from appearing. Once we get rid of all the sacred venerables, the spiritual clan will lose an entire level. Then, the spiritual clan will have no future. Although the spiritual realm we live in isn't low grade, the environment isn't very good, and the food is limited. After we take over the spiritual realm, there will be so many spiritual clans that we won't have to worry about not having enough food. So, as long as we develop peacefully for many years, the spiritual realm will be the true ruler. As for the gods and demons, we can use a similar method." The old man described the spiritual clan's glorious future for everyone. Once they succeeded, the current spiritual clans would become the lowest existence in the future world, and they might even become food for the spiritual clans. It seemed that the many years of being sealed didn't erase the spiritual clan's character. Instead, it made them worse. But it had to be said that the spiritual clans had the strength to do so. Ba Shou's head began to turn as he looked at the others' reactions. "Old Black, your idea might strengthen the spiritual clans, but you've neglected one thing. This world is a coexistence of the 4 clans," Qi Yin said. "I know what you mean, so we won't exterminate them. We'll trample them under our feet and make them serve us in the future." Old Black smiled. "During this period, you don't have to do anything. You just have to watch. After we succeed, you can take over any territory you want with your clans. We won't stop you. It's not impossible for you to take over the sacred clans if you want." Originally, they had come here to negotiate peace with the spiritual clans, but now the old man was describing a beautiful future for the spiritual clans. Zichun stood there. No one was looking at him. Blackie only glanced at him. In such an environment, a mere holy venerate like him had no right to speak. This dream is pretty good. Even I haven't had it before. But I'm sorry, Old Black, we don't agree to it. Meow Meow said to Blackie, Now, show me your trump card. Old Black nodded and said, I know you all have your difficulties. Don't worry, don't worry. I'll solve your problems immediately. Old Black glanced behind him, and several existences appeared. They all looked very old and stood in 4 directions. Including Blackie, there were exactly 5 of them. Scarlet Ape looked at these people, and his expression changed. It seems that you're all still alive. Not all of them are still alive. Many of the old fellows from back then died. An old man with missing front teeth smiled and said, That's why we, who survived, cherish our lives even more. Sometimes, if we don't have to fight, we try our best not to. At this moment, there were 5 old men, which happened to correspond to the 5 people on Zichen's side. Meow Meow said, In that case, let's follow the old rules and fight first. We'll listen to whoever wins. She took a step forward and looked at the old man in front of her. Iron She, you're tough. I'll deal with you. Wait a moment, wait a moment. Old Black suddenly waved his hand and said, Since we're going to fight, of course we have to be fair. This isn't very good, right? You have to follow the rules. Shueshang, we haven't seen each other for so many years. Why do you have to do this? Old Black looked at Zichen, or more accurately, at the cloak behind Zichen. Evidently, they had received accurate information long ago. Thus, the appearance of these existences was extremely targeted. Shueshang flew up and floated in the air. Meow Meow looked at Zichen worriedly. Zichen said, Don't worry, I won't die so easily. Be careful, young master. Meow Meow walked forward and faced the old man called Iron She. Although I don't know how strong he is, he's quite capable of showing off. The bone eagle glanced at Zichen, and its figure flashed. Its true body directly appeared and faced the second old man. Then, the 8 heads roared and rushed over. However, they seemed to feel that this was too high profile and not very good. One of the heads turned back and said, Little Lord, you can't die. Otherwise, I'll be very happy. Scarlet Ape glanced at Shueshang. She still didn't move, so he walked forward. Zichen, you have to be careful. At the very least, you have to hold on until one of us wins. The existences that Zichen had brought out all had different attitudes towards Zichen. Understood. Zichen nodded. Scarlet Ape stepped forward and also revealed his true body. Even if his opponent was someone who seemed to have half a foot in the ground, he didn't have the slightest bit of carelessness. In the end, only Old Black was left. He looked at Shueshang and said, Shueshang, let these old bones of mine feel your strength. After saying that, his body immediately expanded, and a shocking aura surged out. Old Black was a black bear. His true body was bigger than a mountain, and his body surged with a tyrannical aura. Just as the other party's aura erupted, Zichen was sent flying by the impact. Just the aura alone was so powerful, showing the gap between the 2 sides. The cloak turned around, and a woman appeared and looked at Zichen worriedly. Shueshang, you still dare to be distracted at a time like this. Are you looking down on me? The black bear's palm print fell, and the world instantly darkened. The palm print slapped on the cloak. The cloak moved with the strong wind, twisting a few times before stabilizing. Humph! Old Black snorted. Like a thunderclap exploding in the sky, rays of black light spread out in all directions, and the nearby world became incomparably oppressive. When the battle broke out here, Scarlet Ape and the others had already flown into the distance. Such a place couldn't accommodate so many behemoths fighting. All the existences revealed their true bodies, and only Meow Meow was still in her human form. Opposite her was a huge rhinoceros. The horn on its head surged with a terrifying aura. Every time it collided, it would leave a gap in the sky. In her human form, Meow Meow swam through the terrifying energy shockwaves with ease. The cloak called Shueshang shook in the sky, and traces of red energy surged out. When it came into contact with the black energy, it immediately corroded Old Black's energy. Zichen flew nearly 10,000 feet away and looked ahead in shock. This was a truly terrifying battle. The future of the spiritual realm should depend on the outcome of this battle. Chapter 48:38. The person standing behind Zichun was also an old man, which made Zichun's hair stand on end. One had to know that old demons were very likely to be on the same level as Scarlet Ape Meow Meow. The old man looked at Zichun, and a smile appeared on his wrinkled face. As expected of a young man, your vigorous vitality is really enviable. Who are you? Zichun stared at him and subconsciously took a few steps back, putting some distance between them. I'm Wolf Dao, the one who has lived the longest in the Wolf clan. Hearing the old man's introduction, Zichun's heart immediately sank. The Wolf clan that had entered the spiritual realm had suffered a great loss at his hands. Now that the Wolf clan's ancestor was here, it was obvious that he was not here to say anything good. As if he had guessed Zichun's thoughts, the old man said, "This time, they have given this old man a great responsibility. This old man naturally cannot disappoint everyone. Therefore, only one of us will be able to survive. This is also my revenge for my clansmen. After you die, your world will be my Wolf clan's residence. Don't worry, we will remember you." Wolf Dao straightened his linen clothes. "I think you should know that I have hundreds of reasons to kill you." Zichun took a deep breath and looked around. "What are you looking at?" Wolf Dao was a little curious. "Are you waiting for others to come and help you? Stop dreaming. It's very difficult to determine the winner in a battle of this level, and it's even harder to determine life and death. Maybe it'll take a month." Zichun shook his head and said, "Just you?" Wolf Dao laughed. "Are you worried that you'll be besieged? Young man, you're thinking too much. Although I'm an old man, it's enough to kill you. To put it bluntly, if you can kill me, you might be able to achieve your goal this time. However, that's not possible at all." As soon as he finished speaking, Wolf Dao took a step forward and released a powerful aura. Zichun's body shone with light, and the power of thunder circulated, trying to resist the pressure. His body was slowly moving backward. "Look, you can't even block my aura. How are you going to kill me?" Wolf Dao took a step forward and arrived in front of Zichun. Then, he sent a palm strike towards Zichun's chest. Wong. Zichun's body blossomed with radiance, and a surge of fiendish qi appeared. His feet slid back, and the flowing broken blade in front of him blocked the attack. Lang Dao stood where Zichun originally stood, with a hint of surprise in his eyes. "Oh, so the so-called Gu Shan's weapon is the flowing broken blade. That is indeed Gu Shan's weapon. Speaking of which, Lu Duan had killed many of our Wolf clan back then." Just as the Wolf Daoist sighed, Zichun completely unleashed his holy venerate aura. With the support of the flowing saber, he no longer feared the Wolf Daoist's might. At the very least, he could move freely. The yin-yang lightning force poured into the flowing sword and slashed down. A lightning saber arc appeared in the sky. It was very powerful. Seeing this, Wolf Dao smiled and reached out to grab the saber arc. Just like that, he caught the arc of the flowing blade in his hand. In the next moment, the saber arc collapsed. Wolf Dao looked at his palm and frowned. "You can actually hurt me. I don't know if I should say that you are strong or that the flowing broken blade is sharp. No matter who is stronger, we will only know after we fight." Zichun took the initiative to approach Wolf Dao, and the flowing broken blade in his hand slashed down again. Wolf Dao reached out to block, and a bright light circulated in his palm. Just as the two were fighting, a huge commotion came from afar. Obviously, those demon-level existences had also made their move. One of the ferocious tigers roared, "Scarlet Ape, are you crazy? Fighting with your life on the line?" Wolf Dao waved his hands left and right, blocking Zichun's attacks. Zichun shouted and burst out with power. However, he could only barely block in front of him with the flowing saber. The gap between the two was too big. Clang! A sonorous sound rang out. The wolf claw met the flowing saber, and then the weapon was directly sent flying. Then, the wolf claw did not slow down and landed on Zichun's chest. During this time, a bolt of lightning appeared on Zichun's body, and the robe that Soul Suppressor had given him appeared. The lightning flashed and Zichun's body was sent flying into the distance, piercing through a mountain. They were not on the same level at all. Wolf Dao stood there and looked down. He blew a breath, and the mountain disappeared. Zichun fell to the ground, covered in blood and motionless. Wolf Dao's eyes were cold. Killing you like this is already letting you off easy. At this moment, Zichun moved. He staggered to his feet, his eyes staring at the huge creature in the sky. He spat out a mouthful of blood. You old thing, to deal with me, a sacred venerable, and still use your true body. Even if you don't feel ashamed, I do. Humph. Glib tongue. Wolf Dao's eyes were filled with killing intent. I won't say something as boring as you using your human body. What I want to tell you is that even if you use your true body, I can still kill you. After saying that, Zichun stretched out his hand. In an instant, the flowing saber that had left his hand fell into his palm. He held the saber in his right hand and pointed at the huge wolf in the sky. Come here if you have the guts. Wolf Dao roared and pounced towards Zichun. It opened its mouth as if it wanted to swallow Zichun. Chapter 48:39. An earth-shattering sound came from this world. Wolf's huge body smashed down. His head hit the ground first, and his face slid on the ground, stopping in front of Zichun. Such a scene caused the expressions of the existences in the distance to change. Although the battle took place in different places, they were all paying attention to this side. After all, Zichun's life and death were related to the future of the demon realm. Wolf fell to the ground, and a black mountain was pressing down on his body. The mountain was not tall, and compared to Wolf's huge body, it was nothing at all. However, it had crushed the wolf path beneath it. The local demons were all very surprised. They did not expect Zichun to take out such a precious treasure. The expressions of Ba Shou and the others also changed significantly. Ba Shou no longer cared about his opponent and looked at Scarlet Ape and Bone Eagle. Who is it? The Black Mountain was what suppressed them. Because it was connected to their life, it could suppress them in an instant. Among the few existences who came out, except for Miao Miao and Shueshang, each of them had a corresponding mountain. Now, Zichun actually used a mountain to fight the enemy. That could only mean one thing. One of them had disappeared. Who was this person? It? Scarlet Ape? Bone Eagle? Or Cheongqi? Bone Eagle also turned its head to look, also looking for an answer. Scarlet Ape looked at the enemy. In fact, it was not clear which one Zichun had given freedom to. However, he could vaguely guess what was going on. Is it me? Ba Shou's gaze turned and looked at Zichun in the distance. Many of his eyes flickered. At this moment, Zichun raised the flowing blade and slashed at Wolf in front of him. His blade was indomitable, and he used all his strength in the blade. Die! The cold voice was like the judgment of the Grim Reaper, and the blade fell on Wolf's head. Poof! Wolf's head, which was suppressed by the Black Mountain, was cut in half from the forehead. Looking at the blood spurting out, all the demons were stunned. This was too unbelievable. After the slash, Zichun immediately went forward, intending to slash again. Unfortunately, it was too late. Or rather, Zichun's enemy was too terrifying. Even after suffering such serious injuries, he did not die. Bang! A powerful energy rippled out as the Black Mountain peak flew into the air. A powerful aura surrounded the path of wolves like a storm. Seeing Wolf Dao standing up in the storm, Zichun swung his saber again. The saber light cut through the storm and continued forward. Chi. When the saber missed, Long Dao's head healed again. However, there was a clear line of blood between his eyebrows. Little brat, this old man wants you dead. The Wolf Dao was completely enraged, its voice exploding like thunder. It waved its claws again, this time even faster. Zichun only saw a blur in front of his eyes. Before he could react, the wolf's claws were already in front of him. Bang! Zichun quickly retreated. The Black Mountain that had blocked the attack for him was sent flying. He couldn't keep up with his movements, but his mind could. As long as he moved his mind, the Black Mountain could approach him. Die! Taoist Wolf caught up, flustered and exasperated. Once again, the Black Mountain approached and smashed towards Taoist Wolf. This time, Taoist Wolf was prepared and dodged. Its huge body was extremely agile at this moment. Zichun took the opportunity to swing his saber again, but it was shattered by Taoist Wolf's claws. Just like that, Zichun used the Black Mountain Peak and the Flowing Saber to deal with Taoist Wolf. Taoist Wolf cried out in anger. It was a great humiliation to be reduced to such a state by a sacred venerate. Little brat, you are courting death. A long river suddenly extended from the sky, like the Milky Way flowing in the sky. This was Taoist Wolf's supreme treasure. He hadn't used it for many years. He didn't expect that a sacred venerate would force him to use it today. The long river approached, wanting to wrap around Zichun. Zichun summoned the Black Mountain Peak. He stood on the mountain peak, and the mountain peak kept rising. The long river revolved around the mountain peak, rising as the mountain peak grew. During this period, a terrifying aura kept spreading, but it couldn't do anything to Zichun. However, Zichun couldn't leave and could only stay on the mountain peak. Taoist Wolf's huge body walked on the river. As it approached, its body shrank to a size of more than 10 feet. Its eyes were cold and filled with boundless killing intent. Zichun, who was standing on the mountain peak, had a bad feeling. The Black Mountain Peak could only protect him, but he was trapped here. It was as if he was trapped on an island in the sea. Taoist Wolf approached and clawed down. It seemed that after its body shrank, its speed increased a little. Zichun blocked in time with the flowing saber in his hand. As the gravity approached, the flowing saber slipped out of his hand again. The flowing saber slipped out of his hand and fell into the long river. Then, Zichun found that he had lost contact with the flowing saber. Taoist Wolf stood on the Black Mountain Peak with blood dripping from its forehead. A black light suddenly appeared and enveloped its body. Taoist Wolf was affected. However, this still didn't hinder its powerful combat strength. Therefore, a second attack appeared. Without the help of the flowing saber, its sharp claws hit Zichun's chest. Zichun's chest immediately caved in. The lightning robe on his body was surrounded by lightning, and the light was extinguished. This high-grade magic robe could be considered to be half destroyed. Zichun's body left the Black Mountain Peak and fell into the long river. The thick river water rushed in from all directions and poured into his body. Chapter 48:40. Hearing this voice that he had not heard for many years, Wolf Dao retreated again with fear in his eyes. Those who had not experienced that era would never know how powerful Gushan was back then. The first person's realm? That's right. But where did this realm come from? It came from a mountain of corpses and a sea of blood. The battle in the distance stopped again, and the faces of all the monsters and demons changed greatly. The person who stood in front of the saber was an existence that deterred an era. Zichun's consciousness gradually returned. After his vision became clear, he saw the strong man. At this time, the strong man was also looking at him, as if he wanted to see through him. The surroundings were very quiet, and even the sound of the wind had disappeared. I sensed the same aura. It seems that it's you. Gushan looked at Zichun, nodded and said, "Not bad." He held the flowing saber in his hand. In an instant, the flowing saber was flowing with brilliance. Scenes appeared in front of Gushan. In those scenes, Zichun saw the former King Gu Dun, the king of venerables, and himself. It seemed that the flowing saber had the function of memory, and at this moment, it was playing back the memories for Gushan. Zichun stood up. He guessed the identity of the other party, and his face was full of surprise. The first person had come back to life? There was no aura fluctuation. He just stood there, but it was as if he was a world of his own. The other monsters were all silent. Even those who were familiar with Gushan did not greet this old friend. It was so quiet that one could hear a pin drop. A moment later, all the scenes disappeared. Gushan looked at Zichun again and said with more satisfaction, "Not bad. Really not bad." Being praised by the first person twice in a row, Zichun was even more confused. Gushan did not explain, but turned around and looked at Wolf Dao. Wolf Dao had retreated far away. After Gushan turned his head, his real body appeared and said, "Everything is negotiable. Everything is negotiable." Gushan did not speak, but his eyes gradually turned cold. "I know that you sealed us back then for our own good. This time, we came out to do something for the spiritual realm." Wolf Dao explained in a panic, "Perhaps our approach is a bit radical, but I can guarantee that we will change. We really will change. Don't be the only one saying this. Old Black, you say something too. Do you think we will change? The big bear named Old Black didn't speak. It wasn't that he didn't want to say a few words at this time, but he didn't dare to. Gushan, who had walked through mountains of corpses and seas of blood to become number one, was definitely not a kind person. He had killed countless lives. The other existences kept their mouths shut. Gushan was too much of a threat to them. Are you done? Gushan spoke. His voice was calm, but in the ears of the wolf Taoist, it sounded like a death sentence. It's over. No, it's not over yet. Lang Dao first nodded, then immediately shook his head, trying to think of an excuse. Gushan said, but my time is limited. I can't listen to you. Maybe you will change, but I won't be able to see it. Kid, you've obtained the flowing broken blade. Now, I'll teach you the mountain chopping technique. Look carefully, you only have one chance. Hearing this voice, just as Zichun looked forward, he saw Gushan chopping down with the blade. This blade moved forward with an indomitable will, carrying an unparalleled will. A perfect blade arc appeared between heaven and earth, with Gushan as the beginning and Lang Dao as the end. Lang Dao roared, mobilizing the demonic aura to form a defense. In the face of death, he wouldn't accept his fate. He had guessed what kind of state Gushan was in, so he wanted to give it a try. As long as he could block this attack, there was still a chance to turn the situation around. Lang Dao guessed right, but unfortunately, he didn't have the ability to wait until then. The saber arc slashed down, instantly splitting the huge corpse into two. Blood rained down from the sky, and the two halves of Lang Dao's body fell to the ground. In Zichen's perception, Gushan's blade not only split the body, but also destroyed the soul. One blade kill. Pung, pung. The body fell to the ground, shaking the earth, and countless smoke and dust flew up. Heaven and earth returned to silence again. Gushan turned his head to look at the others, only to see them retreating quickly, disappearing from sight in the blink of an eye. The eight-headed demon and the others didn't leave, but they didn't step forward either. Speaking of which, they knew Gushan, but they weren't very close. In fact, it was Gushan who captured and suppressed them. Gushan looked at Miao Miao, who stood in the air and bowed to Gushan. Then, he looked at Shueshang. The blood-red cloak rippled, and a hazy woman appeared, also bowing to Gushan. Gushan nodded in response to the two women. Then, Gushan looked at Qi Yin, who cupped his fists at Gushan. There was a hint of surprise in Gushan's eyes. The eight-headed demon and the bone eagle didn't get any attention, but they weren't angry at all, because it wasn't necessarily a good thing to be stared at by Gushan. Gushan walked to Zichun and asked, "Did you see it clearly?" Zichun nodded. "I saw it clearly." Gushan smiled and handed the blade to Zichun with both hands. Seeing this, the eyes of all the demons present changed. Gushan handed the blade with both hands? What did this Zichun do? Zichun was also at a loss. "I'll leave the spiritual realm to you from now on." Gushan was entrusting him with the safety of the entire spiritual realm, not the blade. This existence who had left the spiritual realm for God knows how many years still cared about it. Zichun took it with both hands and nodded solemnly. He didn't just take the blade, but also a responsibility. "From now on, it truly belongs to you," Gushan said. "I've just taken a cursory look at you. Although I don't know much about you, I'm sure you'll be able to shoulder this heavy responsibility since you've come this far. The spiritual realm will return to heaven and earth. I'll wait for you in the immortal spell world." After saying this, Gushan's figure gradually dimmed and then disappeared. The others weren't surprised. Gushan was no longer in this world. It was just an incarnation that was once sealed in the flowing blade. It was reasonable for it to disappear now. Lao He and the others had guessed this, and that was why they'd immediately retreated, because no one dared to guarantee exactly how many attacks this clone possessed. Just after Gushan's figure disappeared, Old Black and the others who had left before came back again. Qi Yin shouted in a deep voice, "Old Black, Wolf Dao is already dead. Are you still not giving up?" Old Black, who had turned into a big bear, laughed. "But this little guy is not dead yet. I think we can still fight again." The other existences immediately came forward and blocked Meow Meow and the others. It was still a one-on-one battle. However, where was Zichun's opponent? At this moment, a black light shot towards Zichun like an arrow. The opponent's speed was much faster than Wolf Dao. Zichun could only see a black light. When he saw it clearly, the black light was already close to him. Die. Chapter 48-41. Zichun was unable to dodge this light. He didn't even have time to think about it. It was too fast. Just as he could see it clearly, it was already close to him. Obviously, this was a killing move prepared by the Black Demons. They wanted to kill Zichun in one strike just in case. Boom. A huge tremor. Zichun, who did not even have time to react, was pushed back several steps by a force. Countless terrifying ripples surrounded him. They were like real attacks that cut through space, leaving black marks in the surroundings. These attacks that could cut through space only surged around Zichun. It was as if there was an invisible force that shrouded his body and protected him. Zichun retreated again and again. When he was 10 steps away, he finally stabilized himself. There were no wounds on his body, and he only retreated 10 steps instead of being knocked out of the sky. This was another miracle. Of course, there was a reason for this miracle. In front of Zichun stood a demon that was more than 100 feet tall. Its body stood there like an iron tower, blocking the sneak attack for Zichun. In front of this demon was a black cheetah. It was only a few dozen feet tall when it launched its strongest attack. Xiongqi, it's you. The black cheetah made a surprise sound. The demon standing in front of Zichun replied, "Who else? How could it be you?" The black cheetah was in disbelief. "Why didn't you appear earlier?" Xiongqi's figure appeared and turned into a lazy middle-aged man in a loose robe. He picked his ears and said, "Of course, a key person has to appear at the crucial moment. We've been rivals for so many years. I knew you were cunning, so of course I had to hold back." Xiongqi had not appeared in the Tianwu world since the beginning, so he had only followed them secretly this time. He was good at hiding, so no one else could sense him. Perhaps Gushan had sensed him before he disappeared, but he did not say anything. Of course, this was not part of Zichun's plan. After coming to the spiritual world, Xiongqi found that there were only a few demons outside the Tianwu world, so it did not appear. It was mainly because it was lazy. Zichun had taken this opportunity to make the other party go into hiding. He never thought that it would actually play a critical role today. In fact, Xiongqi had already prepared to launch a sneak attack on Wolf Wei. However, the attack was too sudden. If he hadn't reacted in time, Xiongqi might have been cut in half like Long River. Xiongqi waved his hand at Black Panther, who had a cold look in his eyes, and said, "Who are you trying to scare with this look?" The Black Panther's figure transformed into a middle-aged man wearing a black robe. Seeing this scene, Xiongqi was amused. "The others are all old men, but you're still young. No wonder you chose to launch a sneak attack. It turns out that you've only grown a little and haven't grown up." Seeing this, Scarlet Ape and the others also transformed into their human forms. Meow Meow said, "How about you guys? Do you still want to fight? Or is there an old fart among you?" Blackie's eyes flickered. Meow Meow's beautiful face suddenly turned frosty. "You're just a stupid bear. How dare you try to play tricks with others? Don't you think it's funny? Let me tell you. This time my young master is seriously injured and lost a magic robe treasure. This is already the most benevolent thing I can do for you. Gushan didn't kill you all back then, so don't go too far. Otherwise, Meow Meow, will kill all of your people if I get angry. Do you believe me?" Blackie looked at Meow Meow and shouted, "Meow Meow, what do you mean?" Meow Meow mocked, "Can't you see? Even if my young master isn't here, we're not on the same side as you. If we were, we wouldn't have left with Gushan back then. To put it bluntly, we're only willing to negotiate with you if my young master is here. If my young master dies, not only will we not agree to your conditions, we might even completely exterminate your people." Blackie and the others transformed into their human forms again. At this point, there was no room for reconciliation between the two sides. As for fighting, there was no point in continuing. This was because they didn't have the confidence to kill Meow Meow and the others. At most, they would kill Zichun, but what was the use? Meow Meow alone had the ability to kill all of their people. Back then, the fox race was able to rise and become an existence on equal footing with them because of Meow Meow's strength. Blackie, who had transformed into a human, said angrily, "So, what did you mean by that? Are you going to use our people as sparring partners for this kid?" "We can't be called sparring partners, but some people are unconvinced and want to see my young master's strength. Of course we'll let them see it." Meow Meow descended from the sky and smiled for the first time. "How is it? My young master is strong, right?" Blackie snorted coldly. Zichun walked forward, and Xiongqi followed beside Zichun. Black Panther, who had transformed into a human, glared at Xiongqi and then had to follow. At this point, the battle couldn't go on, and no one was prepared to fight. Now, they sat down and discussed about the spiritual realm. For Blackie and the others, other than the loss of Wolf Path, it wasn't that they didn't gain anything. At least, they knew that Gushan had completely left the Saint Spirit realm, which was the only thing they were afraid of. Otherwise, how could they bear to continue staying here when the entrance was open? Zichun came forward and said directly, "I want to take away Wolf Path's corpse." "No, it has to be returned to the wolf race. They lost too much this time." Blackie refused without hesitation. "It brought this upon itself, didn't it?" Zichun smiled faintly and said, "Therefore, its corpse belongs to me." "No. If we give the corpse to you, how can we explain it to the wolf race?" Another old man refused decisively. As the vanguard, the wolf race had indeed lost a lot. Not to mention the deaths of several demons, even Wolfpath was dead. In the future, the wolf race was destined to decline or even decline. Zichun looked at the others and saw their determined eyes. So he said, "All right, the 2 parts of the river are mine." Gushan's slash had directly cut the river into 2 parts, so it could be considered useless. "That's not a problem." Blackie nodded in agreement. Compared to Wolf Path's corpse, a broken weapon was meaningless. After nodding, everyone, including Blackie, glanced at Shueshang. Shueshang no longer concealed herself and said after revealing herself, "Thank you, young master." With that, she put away the 2 parts of the river. She could condense them into her blood river, which would increase its power. Zichun continued, "All right, let's discuss some issues about the spiritual realm." Blackie said directly, "We monster race have many people, so we want half of the spiritual realm." Zichun said, "No matter how many people you have, can you compare to the spirit race?" Chapter 48-42. This important decision, which concerned the safety of the spiritual realm, was negotiated in the wilderness. The process was not smooth, but because the 2 sides were no longer fighting, they could only bargain back and forth. Zichun did not have high requirements for the Yao race. First, the demons were not allowed to devour planets. Otherwise, they would die if they found one, and if they found 2, they would die. Originally, Zichun did not have the strength and confidence to do so. However, with Meow Meow and the others beside him, he was full of confidence. Zichun's meaning was clear. After the Yao race entered the Saint Spirit realm, they could also fight. After all, there were still disputes between the spirit race, but on the condition that they could not use their realms to suppress them. Especially now, there were not many demons in the spirit race, so at most, it would be a battle between sacred venerables. If the sacred venerables won because of their benefits, the spirit race would have nothing to say. However, if the sacred venerables lost and a demon wanted to kill them, then sorry, the demon had to die. As for the territory, the Yao race could freely search for it. Zichun did not have many requirements, but he could not interfere with the spirit race's normal life. The Yao race agreed to these questions, but the most controversial one was the last one. Within 1,000 years, the demons were not allowed to fight for resources. The Yao race's biggest reliance was the demons. Moreover, the spiritual realm's laws had just been restored, so there were bound to be many opportunities that were previously sealed. This was a great opportunity for them to gain contribution points. How could they miss it? After all, the main reason they invaded the spiritual realm was to fight for the demons' resources that were about to appear, so that their races could become stronger. On this point, Zichun was absolutely insistent. Because if the demons were to fight, the spirit race would not have a chance to develop. Therefore, after many rounds of arguments, both sides finally took a step back and agreed on a conclusion. Once such a place appeared, the spirit race and the Yao race could send the same number of demons to explore. Zichun agreed. Because such resources would take some time to appear, and for the spiritual realm, after a short period of peace, many people would be able to break through. Finally, after everything was settled, everyone left the demon realm. After returning to the Saint Spirit realm, Zichun asked Miao Miao to help him announce the terms of the negotiation. One of the terms was that if the demon race violated the agreement, they could go to the Tianwu world to inform them. Or, they could ask others to help pass the message. Zichun would definitely take care of this matter. Miao Miao used her demonic means to spread the news to every corner of the spiritual realm. When all the spirit race heard this, they cheered loudly. The crisis of the demon race was finally resolved. Many people cried tears of joy. Unlike the invasions of gods and demons, which gave people a certain amount of buffer time, these invading demons would swallow the world in one gulp. Countless lives would not be able to escape in time. Compared to the destruction caused by the demon invasion, the destruction caused by the gods and demons who had been here for many years was nothing. Not only did the spirit race members hear Miao Miao's words, but the gods and demons who had been driven to the entrance also heard her. For a moment, their feelings were very complicated. Could it be that the demon race was going to invade just like that, and they were going to leave? As for another invasion, they would not think about it. Zichun could even deal with the demon race, let alone them. Just as the upper echelons of the gods and demons were worrying, someone suddenly stood up and said that they could negotiate with Zichun to fight for a place for the demon race to live. This person was Emo Yijan. Zichun was now at the peak of his power. Who would dare to make trouble for him at this time? Therefore, after Emo Yijan's suggestion, they immediately agreed. In any case, they did not have to go. As for the rumors of Zichun and Emo Yijan colluding, no one mentioned them anymore. Although the upper echelons agreed to this matter, who would go with them to negotiate was another problem. Zichun could reach an agreement with the demon race because the demon race was strong enough that they could not be stopped. Therefore, both sides had bargaining chips. But the demon race was different. They were already the defeated side. They did not immediately leave, which affected the interests of the spirit race. There was no advantage for them to negotiate. If they angered Zichun, they would lose their lives. Moreover, the demon race did not have as many life-saving methods as the spirit race. They only had one life. Therefore, there was always a debate about who to choose. In the end, Emo Yijan spoke again and said that he would go alone. If he had to add one more person, it would be him bringing his wife along. Many of the demons were very moved by this, and they naturally agreed. Seeing the two of them leave, a Saint Venerable of the demon race said, "You're just going to watch your daughter go to Zichun like this? You don't feel bad if Emo Yijan dies, but what if your daughter dies too?" Emo Wuda looked at the two of them leaving and sighed. For the survival of the demon world, I can only sacrifice my family to protect everyone. The Saint Venerable beside him sneered. Clearly, he did not believe him. Actually, Emo Wuda knew very well what Emo Yijan's dream was. Therefore, this time, not only did he not stop him, he even tried his best to matchmake them. Even when Emo Yijan suggested that he bring his daughter to negotiate with Zichun, he agreed. Because Emo Yijan always had a beautiful dream in his heart, or rather, a grand dream. He had always been working hard for this dream, and this time, he was close to success. Although only the two of them went, there was still a group of demons secretly protecting the two of them. At the very least, they could not let the two of them die prematurely before reaching Zichun. Emo Yijan pulled Emo Yin's hand and flew towards Zichun's world. Looking at the man beside her, Emo Yin's face revealed a blissful smile. Back then, everyone said that the two of them got together because of benefits. However, only she knew that this was not the case. Emo Yijan was very good to her. This time, it was hard to say whether she would live or die. However, she still came without hesitation. Even if she died, she would die together with him. Feeling the sweat on Emo Yin's palm, Emo Yijan said, "Don't be nervous. Don't worry, it'll be fine." Emo Yin nodded lightly. "With you by my side, I'm not afraid." Emo Yijan smiled and said, "Haven't you seen Zichun? He doesn't eat people. He doesn't eat people, but he's even scarier than demons. Looking at the four races, who was not afraid of Zichun if they knew of Zichen's existence? Looking at the Tianwu world in front of them, Imoijan said, "Don't worry, this time we're—" "What are we?" Imoiyin tilted her head and looked at him. "We're officially visiting an old friend." Imoi smiled. She smiled very happily. "It was Zichun who let me go on purpose." This was a shocking secret. Imoiyin immediately thought of the rumors from those years, rumors that she had never believed. "It's not that I didn't believe you, but I was afraid that you would be implicated. If we were exposed at that time, we wouldn't be able to live." In that era, Imoiyin did not have enough background and could barely protect himself. Once the news about Zichun spread, not only would he die, but he might also implicate Imoiyan's family. He was indebted to the Lord for recognizing his worth and even marrying his daughter to him. He could not implicate them. Imoiyin nodded understandingly. She could understand Imoiyan's feelings, but why did he say it now? Was he not worried that the secret would be exposed? Zichun guessed her doubts and said with a smile, "After today, everything will be meaningless." Zichun could resolve the crisis in the Saint Spirit realm. Even the demons were afraid of him. Obviously, he was the most powerful being in the Saint Spirit realm and had the most authority. Walking out of this room today, perhaps everyone would be happy to see Imoiyin and Zichen befriend each other. As for those rumors, they would not appear again. Even if they appeared again, Imoiyin's life would not be in danger. Instead, he would have contributed greatly. Therefore, Imoiyin's visit this time was just to meet his friends. As for talking about the god and demon realm, it was just a side trip. Zichun is my friend, and I don't have many friends. Zichun can be considered my family. I brought you here this time to meet my family. Imoiyin laughed, but this sentence made Imoiyin's eyes fill with tears. She knew how Imoiyin got up. It was not easy for a spirit race to become a leader with such an awkward identity among the demon realm. In the entire demon realm, only Lu Zhan could do it. No one knew what Imoiyin and Zichun talked about that day. In the end, Zichun walked out of the room and put his arm around Imoiyan's shoulder. At the same time, he told everyone that Imoiyin was Zichun's good brother. When this sentence came out, it caused a big uproar. Then, there were many voices of objection. Imoiyin was the leader of the demon realm. Zichun was the hero of the spirit race. How could he be good brothers with great evil? However, there were also some spirit race people who clapped and cheered. Back then, when Imoiyin led the invasion, he had indeed treated many spirit race people well. This was also the main reason why he and his team could escape successfully in the end. Zichun did not care about these words because it was meaningless. He could not make everyone satisfied and applaud. During the peace talks with the demon realm, there were many spirit race people who had lost their relatives. They cursed Zichun for being cowardly and not daring to fight with the demon realm. Now, Zichun was wholeheartedly thinking of breaking through to the demon realm. Only by breaking through would he have the absolute right to speak. In that tavern, Zichun had left enough crystals for the two old men to drink, so the two of them stayed in the tavern all day and looked at the world. "It's time, right?" The black-robed old man drank a bowl of wine. Chapter 48-44. The white-robed old man looked at the wine in his bowl and said, "But we have been drinking his wine for such a long time. We should owe him a favor. Since we have waited for so many years, a few more years won't hurt." The white-robed old man looked out the window. Moreover, this world has not really stabilized yet. There are still some abnormalities. Let's wait until everything has stabilized. All right. The black-robed old man nodded, and the two of them continued to drink. Zichun did not know that the conversation between the two of them had bought a lot of time for him and the Ling clan in the entire world. The Shun clan and the Mo clan had obtained the right to live in the spiritual realm, but there was a precondition. The teleportation channel had to be stabilized by the Shin clan and the Mo clan. Moreover, the Shin clan and the Mo clan would be completely open to the Ling clan. If the Ling clan wanted to go to these two realms to look for resources, they could also go through the teleportation channel. The Shin clan and the Mo clan were not allowed to stop them. At the same time, there was a more important message. The Ling clan living in the Shen clan and the Emo clan, or rather, the fake demons and fake gods, were not allowed to stop them if they wanted to come to the spiritual realm. As for how the two clans would develop in the spiritual realm, that was their own business. The spiritual realm was large enough, and there were countless ownerless planets. It would be easy to survive here. On the Emo clan side, the matter of the Ling clan's return was completely handled by Emo Ijan. As for the Shen clan, who had not been in contact with Zichun, they also sent over a set of relevant personnel. Zichun did not even look at the information. He said to the Shen clan member, "Let Shenhao handle this matter. Compared to the others in the Shen clan, I trust him more." Zichun had killed Shenhao in the strange world, but he had always had a good impression of Shenhao. At least that young man was not as cunning as old man Go. The person received the order and bowed to Zichun before leaving. "Perhaps I should make a trip to the Emo clan?" Zichun had been to the Emo clan before and was very clear about the environment of the Ling clan. Moijan had been working hard without anyone's support and finally had the ability to change this situation. Zichun also had invincible combat power. At the very least, no one would dare to plot against him in the Emo clan. "My lord, what's the point of going to the demon realm? Why don't we go to the demon realm?" Since the last time he went to the demon realm with Zichun, he saw everything that happened and admired Zichun more and more. Of course, this was just his mouth. As for whether he admired him in his heart, Zichun wasn't sure. Perhaps the other party was the same type of existence as the eight-headed demon. Once they had the ability one day, they would instantly betray them. During the last crisis, Zichun had given Scarlet Ape its freedom. That was why it could mobilize the Black Mountain Peak to fight. Of the 4 Black Mountains, Zichun had only released one. The Bone Eagle, the Eight-Headed Beast, and the Cheongqi were still under his control. Those 3 mountains were currently unusable for battle. After Amoi Zhan and his wife returned, they were warmly welcomed by the Devil Race. Only after experiencing this battlefield did they realize how difficult it was to stay. In a situation where the demon race was at a complete disadvantage, he had managed to obtain a huge benefit for both the god race and the demon race from Zichun's hands. It had to be said that this was very impressive. Emo Izhin had become the hero of both the god and devil races. On the day they returned, the husband and wife went to visit Emo Wuda. Emo Wuda nodded at Emo E and said, "You did well. There are no more obstacles from now on. Just do as you wish." "No more obstacles?" Emo Izhan was in disbelief. Emo Wuda smiled. "You're now a Saint Venerate and have contributed greatly to the devil race. Don't underestimate yourself. Now that we're on the battlefield, we have a lot of authority. At the very least, it won't be a problem for us to deal with those old masters." Mo Zhan had obtained benefits for the devil race, but there were still many problems in the devil race itself, especially regarding the spirit race. Therefore, there was bound to be chaos. However, compared to the war this time, it could only be considered internal chaos. It was much easier for a Saint Venerate to suppress it. Emo Wuda smiled. "This time, I've already obtained the greatest authority for you. Therefore, you have the absolute right to speak on this matter. As for the troops, if you don't have enough people, we can send you more from the battlefield. However, before that, you need to plan a plan for moving in. After all, this is a historical moment for the devil race." Emo Izhin said, "Zichun doesn't really care about us, but the spirit race living in the devil realm. Because he's been to the devil realm, he knows what their lives are like. Therefore, if we want to truly integrate into the spirit realm, the first thing we need to do is to treat the spirit race as humans and give them a lot of freedom." Emo Izhan had already considered this point. In order to perfect the rules of the devil realm, the 4 armies will still be maintained. However, the devil snake guards will need to be changed. After many years of suppression, the spirit race that rebelled were almost all killed. How could there be so many rebels? However, the devil snake guards' contributions keep increasing. This is a big problem. Unjust cases and indiscriminate killings of the innocent can be found everywhere. Therefore, after completely resolving the matter of the spirit race, I plan to bring the first batch of spirit race to the spirit realm. As long as we can pull them in, we will have a better chance of surviving here. Emo Wuda said, "The higher-ups have already agreed to let you take full responsibility for this matter. In other words, As long as the devil race can successfully stay in the spirit realm and have space to live in the future, nothing will happen to you even if you make a huge mistake in the devil realm. This sentence was very obvious. He wanted Emo-Jean to let go and do what she wanted to do. Emo was even more confident now. I'll go with you, Emo-Yen said. Emo-Jean shook her head and refused. I'll go by myself. This time, we'll encounter all kinds of dirty things. It's better not to dirty your eyes. This time, the devil race had lost. Many people had turned back to vent their anger on the spirit race. There were many dirty things that could happen. Emo-Yen said that she was not afraid, but Emo-Jean still insisted on not letting Emo-Yen follow. She was a proud daughter of a generation and should not see such a scene. When they returned, Emo-Jean brought her army. Emo-D and Emo-Yen Danswa followed. Other than that, Emo-Jean actually saw Emo-Jingtian, which surprised her. One had to know that Emo-Jingtian had always been her immediate superior. However, this time, he was the highest manager. Seeing Emo-Jean's stunned expression, Emo-Jingtian asked, "You don't welcome me?" "I don't dare. Since my lord is here, I naturally welcome you." Emo-Jean hurriedly cupped her fists. Emo-Jingtian patted him on the shoulder and said, "You're underestimating yourself. This time, you're my lord. In order to follow you, other than our original friendship, I've also paid a price." Emo-D and Emo-Yen Danswa nodded at the same time. This might be the last huge contribution in the future of the devil race, so there were too many people who wanted to follow Emo-Jean to earn contribution points. Even those who had been following Emo-Jean still had to line up. Chapter 48-45. After Emo-Jean brought the army back to the demon race, he immediately sent out his trusted subordinates to take over the various cities' fighting forces. When taking over the strongest fighting forces, it was inevitable that there would be some conflicts with the local forces. Emo-Jean had already issued orders to deal with this problem. Those who disobeyed were to be killed without mercy. Judging from the subordinates Emo-Jean had sent out, they were usually 1 or 2 cultivation realms higher than the local forces and were relatively easy to suppress. After taking over, he issued a series of orders. These orders were all targeted at the spirit race. The first order was that from now on, the demon race was not allowed to attack the spirit race for no reason. At the same time, he began to perfect the demon race's laws. Emo-Jean was all too familiar with this. These laws that needed to be changed had appeared in his mind for a long time. Of course, it was also targeted at how to treat the spirit race well. Next, Emo-Jean set up a separate department to deal with the disputes between the spirit race and the demon race. He would not be biased in any way, and it was almost 100% the demons who were responsible for this pitting situation. In the past, this kind of thing would naturally be left unsettled. However, after a series of orders were issued, these people would be dealt with severely. No one knew what was going on. After a series of orders were issued, not only were the demon race stunned, but even the spirit race was dumbfounded. Some people even guessed that this was a conspiracy. Not long after, Emo-Jean asked to see bustling in the Jing residence. Many years had passed, and the famous Jing residence had long been abandoned. The scene from back then seemed to be yesterday in Emo-Jean's mind. Emo-Jean stood there, thinking back to the past. This was the place where he had completely changed. Strictly speaking, Zichun was his lucky star. "What business do you have with me?" A cold voice sounded. "Do you want to catch us all in one fell swoop?" The old blind man had come. Compared to back then, he had become even older. Emo-Jean turned to look at him. He had been a little absent-minded earlier and hadn't noticed the other party. Hiding like an old turtle, "You still haven't broken through," the old blind man said. "You called me here to talk about this? Or do you plan to use the lives of the spirit race in exchange for an even greater contribution, Holy Sovereign Emo-Jean?" Facing the old blind man's ridicule, Emo chuckled. "I didn't expect you to be so mean after so many years. It's better to be mean than to kill." The old blind man coldly snorted. Emo was not angry. Instead, she smiled and said, "I wonder what you think of the recent rules of the demon clan? Who knows what you guys are up to?" Seeing how uncooperative old blind was, Emo-Jean didn't bother asking for a rebuff and went straight to the point. This time, I've called you here to ask if you're willing to bring our people to live in the spirit realm. The old blind man looked at Moe and trembled, as if he wanted to see something from his face. It was just that he couldn't see things clearly, so naturally, he couldn't see anything. Moe said with a trembling voice, "If you are willing, I can arrange a route for you to leave." Old Blind shook his head. Moe said with a trembling voice, "Your answer surprised me. I thought you would be very happy to hear this news." Can't go back for a long time. Old Blind's expression turned dejected. Having lived in such a place, how could he not wish to return? But how could that strange world welcome them? If you're worried that the spirit realm won't accept you, then you can rest assured. The spirit realm is no longer what it used to be. It won't care about this at all. Emoisian said with a trembling voice, "If you're worried that I'm playing tricks, then you don't have to." Do you still remember Emochin? His real name is Ichun. In the current spirit realm, he has the final say. Old Blind's expression changed. Of course, he had a deep impression of that young man. If it weren't for him, they would have died long ago. The main reason why the gods and demons failed to invade the spirit realm was because of Zichun, but we didn't completely retreat. After discussing with Zichun, he was willing to give the demon clan a place to live. He only put forward one condition, and that is to treat the spirit race of the demon realm well. This series of actions against the spirit race is all true. Now and in the future, it will be carried out very well. You don't have to be surprised or have any doubts. The spirit realm has ushered in a great era. Many of the demons who went there have broken through. Even though many have died in battle, the number of Saint Venerables is still much higher than before. If we want to deal with you, we can find you even if we have to dig 3 feet into the ground. Old Blind was still silent, but his expression changed greatly. Not only can you go back, but we will also open a passage between the 2 realms. At that time, the spirit race can also come to the demon realm. Emoisian sighed and said, "The reason why the spirit race doesn't reject you is mainly because of Zichun. Now, he is the #1 Saint Venerable in the world. Once he reaches the demon realm in the future, he will be even more amazing. Moreover, as long as he is alive, the spirit realm will not be in chaos. We won't be afraid of the gods and demons invading again, and the gods and demons won't dare to invade again. Therefore, the spiriters' realm won't care how many of you are real spiriters, or how many of you are spies who are here to collect information. This time, I came back from the spirit realm to deal with this matter. The problems you see with the spirit race are all problems I need to solve. However, I think that you can leave now and go to the spirit realm first. No matter what, you are still enemies of the demon race. Even if some laws have been changed, it is an indisputable fact that you are going against the demon race. So, taking everyone and leaving to live in the spirit realm is the best choice for you." Old Blind and Emoisian's ideals were different, so they walked different paths. But today, it seemed that Emoisian was right. Old Blind let out a long sigh. Demon City, Lien family. A young man stood outside the gate of the Lien family's residence. He looked at the energetic guards. The guards noticed the young man, and one of them said, "Young man, this is a private residence." The young man smiled and said, "I'm here to look for Miss Lien Qing. Can you help me pass on the message?" Miss Lien Qing? The guards were stunned when they heard this. They didn't seem to know this person in the family. Then what about Lien Liju? You can also look for Madame Lien. The young man continued. Hearing this, the guards' expressions changed. You're talking about the previous patriarch? You're looking for our current patriarch. One of the old guards said in disbelief, "Could it be that you're the lord who protected our Lien family?" The young man nodded. "You can say that. Lord, please wait a moment. We'll go and invite the patriarch." The guards were very excited. They quickly ran into the family, not leaving a single person behind. Then, loud shouts could be heard from the clan. "Miss Lien from back then has become the patriarch?"